Appearance of the Buddha. 155 kinds of clouds of mansions with gates of flowers and networks of chimes. These mansion clouds, as numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds, all filled space without dispersing. Having caused these clouds to appear, the enlightening beings bowed to the Buddha and presented them as offerings. Then they produced in the western quarter lion seats of great treasuries of gold leaves, and then sat cross-legged on these seats. To the north of this flower-being ocean of worlds there is an ocean of worlds called treasuries of light spheres of lapis lazuli lotuses. Among the world systems therein is a land called Array of Blue Lotuses. The Buddha's name was King of Sound of the Banner of Universal Knowledge. Among that Buddha's vast congregation was a great enlightening being named Lion Stretchlight, who, with a group of enlightening beings as numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds, came to the Buddha, each manifesting 10 kinds of clouds of beautiful trees of all kinds of fragrant jewels, which filled space without dispersing. They also produced 10 kinds of clouds of trees displaying arrays of all trees of infinite colors and forms, 10 kinds of clouds of trees adorned with all flowers, 10 kinds of clouds of trees adorned with spheres of light of the radiance of all jewels, 10 kinds of clouds of trees adorned with physical forms of enlightening beings, perfumed with all kinds of sandalwood, 10 kinds of clouds of trees inconceivably adorned with scenes of past sights of enlightenment, 10 kinds of clouds of trees of sunlight light from treasuries of clothes made of all kinds of fuels, and 10 kinds of clouds of trees emanating all kinds of pleasing sounds. Clouds such as these, numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds, extended throughout space without dispersing. Having caused these clouds to appear, the enlightening beings bowed to the Buddha and presented them as offerings. Then they each magically produced in the northern quarter lion seats of banks of lotuses with jewel lamps, and sat cross-legged on those seats. Northeast of this flower bank ocean of worlds there is an ocean of worlds called rose gold and lapis lazuli banner. Among the world systems there is a land called Array of Jewels. The Buddha there was called Fearless Lamp of All Truths. Among that Buddha's vast congregation was a great enlightening being called Inexhaustible Mine of Virtues of the Lamp of Supreme Light, who came, with as many enlightening beings as there are atoms in an ocean of worlds, to the Buddha, each producing 10 kinds of clouds of lion thrones of stores of jewel lotuses of boundless forms, which filled space without dispersing. They also produced 10 kinds of clouds of lion thrones of stores of lights of diamonds, 10 kinds of clouds of lion thrones adorned with all kinds of decorations, 10 kinds of clouds of lion thrones of banks of flames of lamps ringed with jewels, 10 kinds of clouds of lion thrones showering jewel ornaments all over, 10 kinds of clouds of lion thrones of treasuries of precious ornaments of all fragrant flowers, 10 kinds of 156 the flower ornament scripture clouds of lion thrones of mines of regal jewels showing the adornments of the seats of all Buddhas, 10 kinds of clouds of lion thrones of treasuries of jewel branches and stems of trees of all kinds of precious stones, 10 kinds of clouds of lion thrones of all arrays of ornaments, steps, and doors, and 10 kinds of clouds of lion thrones of banks of lights adorned with gems and perfumes. Such clouds as these, as many as atoms in an ocean of worlds, all filled space without dispersing. Having caused these clouds to appear, the enlightening beings bowed to the Buddha and presented them to him as offerings. Then, in the northeast direction each magically produced a lion seat of fuel lotuses with banners of lights of precious stones and sat cross-legged thereon. Southeast of this flower bank ocean of worlds an ocean of worlds called gold embellished lapis lazuli light shining everywhere. Among its world systems is a land called pure fragrant light. The Buddha there was named King of Profound Faith and Universal Joy. Among the Buddha's vast congregation was a great enlightening being called Universal Light of the Lamp of Wisdom, who came to the Buddha along with a group of enlightening beings as numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds, each producing 10 kinds of clouds of drapes of all kinds of wish-fulfilling jewels, which filled all of space without dispersing. They also caused to appear 10 kinds of clouds of drapes adorned with all flowers of sapphires, 10 kinds of clouds of drapes of all fragrant jewels, 10 kinds of clouds of drapes of lamps with jewel flames, 10 kinds of clouds of drapes of regal jewels displaying the Buddha's spiritual powers expounding the teachings, 10 kinds of clouds of drapes of gems in the forms of all clothing adornments, 10 kinds of clouds of drapes of lights of masses of all jewels, 10 kinds of clouds of drapes of sounds of chimes on jewel nets, 10 kinds of clouds of drapes on jewel pedestals with lotus nets, and 10 kinds of clouds of drapes displaying the forms of all inconceivable adornments. Clouds of drapes off-wells such as these, as many as atoms in an ocean of worlds, all filled space without dispersing. Having caused these clouds to appear, the enlightening beings bowed to the Buddha and presented them as offerings. Then, to the southeast, each magically produced a lion seat of banks off-jewel lotuses and sat cross-legged thereon. Southwest of this flower bank ocean of worlds is an ocean of worlds called sunlight shining everywhere. Among its world systems is a land called lion sunlight. The Buddha there was called sound of light of universal knowledge. Among that Buddha's vast congregation was a great enlightening being named Top Knot of flames of radiant flower lights, who came to the Buddha with a group of enlightening beings, as many as there are atoms in an ocean of worlds, each manifesting 10 kinds of clouds of parasols of beautiful ornamental jewels, filling space without dispersing. They also produced 10 kinds of clouds of parasols of flowers of arrays of light beams, 10 kinds of clouds of parasols of treasures of pearls of boundless colors, 10 kinds of clouds of parasols of appearance of the Buddha, 157 diamonds emanating the sounds of compassion of all enlightening beings, 10 kinds of clouds of parasols of blazing garlands off-jewels, 10 kinds of clouds of parasols draped with nets of chimes embellished with precious stones, 10 kinds of clouds of parasols decorated with branches of jewel trees, 10 kinds of clouds of parasols of diamonds like the sun shining everywhere, 10 kinds of clouds of parasols of all kinds of perfume and incense, 10 kinds of clouds of parasols of stores of sandalwood, and 10 kinds of clouds of parasols of arrays of universal lights of the vast sphere of Buddhahood. Such clouds of parasols of precious substances, numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds, all filled space without dispersing. Having caused these clouds to appear, the enlightening beings bowed to the Buddha and presented them as offerings. Then, to the southwest, they each magically produced a lion scat of banks of adornments of flames of sapphire light and sat cross-legged thereon. Northwest of this flower bank ocean of worlds is an ocean of worlds called precious light radiance. Among its world systems is a land called array of myriad fragrances. The Buddha there was called light of the ocean of infinite virtues. Among that Buddha's congregation was a great enlightening being called Jewel King of inexhaustible light, who, together with as many enlightening beings as there are atoms in an ocean of worlds, came to the Buddha, each producing 10 kinds of clouds of light spheres of radiance of all jewels, filling space without dispersing. They also produced 10 kinds of clouds of light spheres of all beautiful flowers, 10 kinds of clouds of light spheres of all phantom Buddhas, 10 kinds of clouds of light spheres of the Buddha lands of the 10 directions, 10 kinds of clouds of light spheres of the jewel trees and thunderous sound of the realm of the Buddhas, 10 kinds of clouds of light spheres of all regal gems, 10 kinds of clouds of light spheres instantaneously displaying the forms of infinite beings, 10 kinds of clouds of light spheres of the voice of the Buddha's great Tao, and 10 kinds of clouds of light spheres of diamonds emanating sounds edifying all sentient beings. Such clouds of light spheres, numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds, all filled space without dispersing. Having produced these clouds, the enlightening beings bowed to the Buddha and presented them as offerings. Then, to the northwest, they each produced a lion seat of tree series of awesome qualities of infinite light and sat cross-legged thereon. Below this flower bank ocean of worlds there is an ocean of worlds called treasury of exquisite qualities of lotus blossom fragrance. Among its world systems is a land called radiance of light of a jewel lion. The Buddha there was named light of the cosmos. In the vast congregation of that Buddha was a great enlightening being named wisdom flaming with the light of the universe, who, together with as many enlightening beings as there are atoms in an ocean of worlds, came to the Buddha, each producing 10 kinds of clouds of light beams of mines of all jewels, filling space without dispersing. They also 158 the flower ornament scripture produced 10 kinds of clouds of light beams of all fragrances, 10 kinds of clouds of light beams producing the sounds of all Buddhas explaining the truth, 10 kinds of clouds of light beams revealing the arrays of all Buddha lands, 10 kinds of clouds of light beams of palaces of all beautiful flowers, 10 kinds of clouds of light beams displaying the work of the Buddhas of all ages teaching sentient beings, 10 kinds of clouds of light beams of flower buds of all inexhaustible treasures, and 10 kinds of clouds of light beams of all kinds of decorated thrones. Clouds of light beams such as these, numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds, filled all space without dispersing. Having caused these clouds to appear, the enlightening beings bowed to the Buddha and presented them as offerings. Then each created, in the nadir, a lion scat of lotuses with lamps with jewel flames, and sat cross-legged thereon. Above this flower bank ocean of worlds is an ocean of worlds called radiant arrays of precious stones. Among the world systems there is a land called formless subtle light. The Buddha there was called Unam Pitied light of virtue. Among that Buddha's vast congregation was a great enlightening being called vigorous intellect with unhindered power, who, along with as many enlightening beings as atoms in an ocean of worlds, came to the Buddha, each producing 10 kinds of clouds of light flames of jewels of boundless physical forms, filling space without dispersing. They also produced 10 kinds of clouds of light flames of webs of precious stones, 10 kinds of clouds of light flames of the ornaments of all the vast Buddha lands, 10 kinds of clouds of light flames of all exquisite fragrances, 10 kinds of clouds of light flames of all adornments, 10 kinds of clouds of light flames of the mystical displays of the Buddhas, 10 kinds of clouds of light flames of all beautiful treaty 1 hours, 10 kinds of clouds of light flames of all diamonds, 10 kinds of clouds of light flames of jewels bespeaking the practices of infinite enlightening beings, and 10 kinds of clouds of light T1 aims of lamps of all pearls. Clouds of light flames like these, as numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds, all filled space without dispersing. Having caused these clouds to appear, the enlightening beings bowed to the Buddha and presented them as offerings. Then, at the zenith, they each produced a lion scat of lotus banks of light intoning the voices of the Buddhas and sat cross-legged thereon. In this way, in as many oceans of worlds as there are atoms in 10 billion Buddha fields, there were as many great enlightening beings, each surrounded by a group of enlightening beings as numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds, who came to the gathering. These enlightening beings each produced clouds of offerings of various adornments, as numerous as atomic particles in an ocean of worlds, which all filled space without dispersing. And having produced these clouds, they bowed to the Buddha and presented them as offerings. Then, in the direction from which they had come, all magically pro-appearance of the Buddha 159 took lion scats with various precious adornments and sat cross-loped on them. After having thus seated themselves, those enlightening beings each produced, from the hair pores of their bodies, light rays of the various colors of all jewels, as many as atoms in 10 oceans of worlds. In each light ray there appeared as many enlightening beings as there are atoms in 10 oceans of worlds, all sitting on lion seats of banks of lotuses. These enlightening beings all could enter into every atom of the oceans of structures in all universes. In each individual atom were vast fields, as many as atoms in 10 Buddha worlds. In each field were all the past, present, and future Buddhas. These enlightening beings were all able to go to all these Buddhas, associate with them, and provide them with offerings, and in each and every thought instant, by means of mastery of dream power, demonstrated teachings enlightening as many sentient beings as there are atoms in an ocean of worlds. In every instant, by the teaching showing how celestial beings die and are born, they enlightened as many sentient beings as atoms in an ocean of worlds. In every instant, by explaining the teaching of the acts and practices of enlightening beings, they enlightened as many sentient beings as atoms in an ocean of worlds. In every instant, by the teaching of the Buddha's virtues and mystical displays which stir all lands, they enlightened as many sentient beings as atoms in an ocean of worlds. In every instant, by the teaching of beautifying and purifying all Buddha lands, revealing the ocean of all great vows, they enlightened as many sentient beings as atoms in an ocean of worlds. In every instant, by the teaching of the Buddha's voice which contains the languages of all sentient beings, they enlightened as many sentient beings as atoms in an ocean of worlds. In every instant, by the teaching which can shower the rain of all Buddha teachings, they enlightened as many sentient beings as atoms in an ocean of worlds, in every instant, by the teaching of light illuminating everywhere in the 10 directions, pervading the cosmos and showing mystical demonstrations. They enlightened as many beings as atoms in an ocean of worlds, in every instant, by the teaching of all Buddha's power of liberation manifesting the body of Buddha everywhere, filling the cosmos. They enlightened as many sentient beings as atoms in an ocean of worlds, in every instant, by the teaching of the universally good enlightening being setting up the ocean of all sites of enlightenment with all assemblies of beings. They enlightened as many sentient beings as atoms in an ocean of worlds. In this way, throughout all universes, adapting to the mentalities of sentient beings, they caused them all to awaken. In every instant they each caused as many sentient beings as atoms in a polar mountain who had fallen into miserable states to be forever relieved of their sufferings. Each caused that many sentient beings stuck in wrong concentrations to enter right concentration. Each caused that many sentient beings to be born in celestial spheres according to their inclinations. Each caused that 160 the flower ornament scripture many sentient beings to rest secure in the states of Buddha's disciples or self-enlightened ones. Each caused that many sentient beings to serve good teachers and act virtuously. Each caused that many sentient beings to set their minds on supreme enlightenment. Each caused that many sentient beings to head for the enlightening being's stage of non-regression. Each caused that many sentient beings to attain the eye of pure wisdom and see all things impartially, as does the Buddha. Each caused that many sentient beings to abide securely in the powers and the oceans of vows, and to purify the Buddha lands by means of inexhaustible knowledge. Each caused that many sentient beings to dwell in the vast ocean of Vairocana's vows and be born in the family of the Buddhas. At that time the enlightening beings simultaneously raised their voices within the lights and spoke in verse, saying, in the light rays wondrous sounds are produced, pervading all lands in the 10 directions, expounding the virtues of the Buddha's children, able to enter the wondrous path of enlightenment. Cultivating practices for oceans of eons, never wearied, enabling suffering beings to realize liberation, spirits never downcast, never worn out. Buddha children can well enter these techniques. Cultivating appropriate means for oceans of eons, infinite, boundless, leaving out none, entering into all the aspects of the teachings, they constantly teach, yet their essence is silent and tranquil. The vows of the Buddhas of past, present, and future, all have they mastered, all consummated, then do they thereby benefit all beings as their own pure practical work. In the congregations of all the Buddhas, going everywhere throughout the 10 directions, all, by the ocean of profound knowledge and wisdom, enter the Buddha's way of ultimate peace. Each of the light rays, boundless, enters inconceivable lands. The eye of pure knowledge can see it all. This is enlightening being's sphere of action. Appearance of the Buddha 161 enlightening beings can, resting on a single hair tip, stir all lands in the 10 directions without causing fear in the beings there. This is their stage of pure skill in means. Infinite bodies in each individual atom furthermore manifest lands variously arrayed, instantaneous death and birth, all do they show, those who've attained the unhindered mind. All ages in the past, present, and future they can show in a single instant, knowing the body is illusory, without substance or sign are those who realize the nature of things unimpeded. They're all able to enter the supreme practice of the universally good, so all sentient beings like to see them. Buddha children can abide by this teaching, with a great sound roaring within their lights. Then the Buddha, wishing to enable all the enlightening beings to realize the spiritual power of the boundless realm of the enlightened one, emitted a light from between his brows. That light was called treasury of the light of knowledge of all enlightening beings illumining the 10 directions. Its form was like a cloud of lamps with jewel-like light. It shone throughout all Buddha fields in the 10 directions, revealing all the lands and beings therein. It also caused all networks of worlds to tremble. In every single atom it revealed innumerable Buddhas showering the teachings of all the Buddhas of all times, in accord with the differences in character and inclination of the various sentient beings. It clearly showed the Buddha's ocean of transcendent ways, and also rained infinite clouds of various emancipations, causing the sentient beings to forever cross over birth and death. It also showered clouds of the great vows of the Buddhas, and clearly showed, in all worlds in the 10 directions, the universally good enlightening beings' congregations at the sites of enlightenment. Having done all this, the light swirled around the Buddha, circling to the right, then went in under his feet. Then an immense lotus blossom suddenly appeared before the Buddha. That lotus had 10 kinds of adornments, unmatched by any other lotuses. That is to say, its stem was a mixture of various gems, its bud was of diamond, its petals were all the jewels in the universe, its pistils were of fragrant gems, rose gold adorned its base, exquisite net cov aired it above, its radiant color was pure, it instantaneously displayed the boundless miracles of the Buddhas, it could produce all kinds of sounds. 162 The flower ornament scripture. Its diamonds reflected the body of Buddha. In its sounds it could expound all the practical undertakings cultivated by enlightening beings. When this flower had sprung up, in an instant there was, in the curl of white hair on the Buddha's brow, a great enlightening being named Supreme Sound of all Truths, together with a group of enlightening beings, as numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds. They all came forth together and circled the Buddha to the right innumerable times. Then, having bowed to the Buddha, Supreme Sound of all Truth sat on the flower dais, while the other enlightening beings sat on the pistils. This enlightening being, Supreme Sound of all Truths, comprehended the profound realm of reality, gave rise to great joy, and entered the sphere of action of the Buddha, his knowledge unobstructed. He entered the unfathomable ocean of the Buddha's reality body, and went to where the Buddhas were in all lands. In each hair pore of his body he showed mystical powers. In every moment of thought he contemplated the entire cosmos. The Buddhas of the 10 directions all bestowed their power on him, causing him to rest in all meditation states, forever seeing the Buddha's body of the ocean of qualities of the boundless cosmos, including all meditations and liberations, mystic powers and miraculous displays. Then, in the midst of the assembly, empowered by the Buddha, he looked over the 10 directions and said in verse, the Buddha's body fills the cosmos, appearing before all beings everywhere in all conditions, wherever sensed, reaching everywhere, YCT always on the seat of enlightenment. In each of the Buddha's pores sit Buddhas many as atoms in all lands, surrounded by masses of enlightening beings expounding the supreme practice of the universally good. Buddha, sitting at rest on the enlightenment scat, displays in one hair oceans of fields. The same is true of every single hair, thus pervading the cosmos. He sits in each and every land, pervading the lands one and all. Enlightening beings from everywhere gather, all coming to the enlightenment scene. Oceans of enlightening beings with virtues and lights numerous as atoms in all lands. Appearance of the Buddha. 163 All are in the congregation of the Buddha, filling the entire cosmos. In lands numerous as atoms in the cosmos he appears in every congregation. This realm of knowledge of body distribution can be established in the practice of universal goodness. In the congregations of all the Buddhas enlightening beings of supreme knowledge sit, each hearing the teaching, conceiving joy, cultivating themselves in every situation for boundless ages. Having entered the far-reaching vows of the universally good, each produces the teachings of the Buddhas. In the ocean of Vairocana's teachings, they practice and master Buddhahood. What the enlightening being universally good is awake to all Buddhas alike praise with joy. Having attained the great mystic powers of the Buddhas, he circulates throughout the whole cosmos. In all lands, as many as atomic particles, he manifests clouds of bodies, filling them all, radiating light for beings everywhere, each raining teachings suited to their minds. At that time there was another great enlightening being in the assembly, named King of Lotus Light Wisdom, contemplating all supreme truths, who, empowered by the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said in verse, the profound knowledge of the Buddha enters everywhere in the cosmos, able to operate in accord with all times. It is a clear guide for the world. The Buddhas have the same reality body, it depends on nothing, is without distinction, it causes beings to see Buddha in physical form according to their intellects. Replete with all knowledge, Buddha knows all things. 164 The flower ornament scripture. In all lands, everything is evident. Buddha's bodies, lights, and physical forms are all inconceivable. Sentient beings who believe he causes to see them according to potential. In one Buddha body he produces infinite Buddhas, thunderous sound pervading all lands expounding the teaching, the deep ocean of thusness. In each hair pore are webs of light pervading all quarters, intoning the sublime voices of Buddha, taming the hard to tame. From the Buddha's light issues deep and wondrous sound extolling the Buddha's ocean of virtues and the practices of enlightening beings. Buddha turns the will of true teaching, which is infinite and has no bounds. The truth taught is beyond compare, the shallow cannot fathom it. In all worlds he manifests, fulfilling true enlightenment, in each displaying miracles which fill the whole cosmos. Each of the Buddha's bodies manifests Buddhas equal to the number of beings, in every one of the numberless lands showing spiritual powers. At that time there was another enlightening being in the assembly, called Light of Wisdom of Joy in the Truth, empowered by the Buddha. He looked over the 10 directions and said, Buddha's body is always apparent, filling the entire cosmos. Appearance of the Buddha 165 always intoning far-reaching sound shaking all lands in all quarters. Buddha manifests bodily everywhere, entering into all worlds, revealing occult spiritual power according to the inclinations of beings. Buddha appears before all beings in accordance with their minds. What the sentient beings see is the Buddha's mystic power. His radiance has no bounds and his teaching too is infinite. Buddha children can enter and observe according to their knowledge. The Buddha's body has no birth yet can appear to be born. The nature of reality is like space, therein do the Buddhas dwell. No abiding, yet no departing, everywhere the Buddha's seen, his light reaches everywhere, his fame is heard afar. No substance, no abode, and no origin that can be found, no signs, no form, what appears is like reflections. Buddha raises clouds of teaching suited to beings' minds, with various forms of expedient means he enlightens them and calms them down. In all worlds is Buddha seen sitting on the enlightenment side, surrounded by a great congregation, illumining all lands. The bodies of all Buddhas all have infinite forms, though their manifestations be innumerable, their forms are never exhausted. 166 The flower ornament scripture. At that time another great enlightening being in the assembly, named Wisdom like fragrant flame light illumining everywhere, empowered by the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said in verse, the enlightening beings in this assembly enter the Buddha's inconceivable state, each able to see all the Buddha's spiritual powers. The body of knowledge can enter the atoms of every land, perceiving bodies therein, seeing all the Buddhas. Like reflections appearing in all worlds where all the Buddhas are, in each and every one they reveal miraculous deeds. The practice of vows of universally good they have developed, clear and pure, they are able to see in all lands Buddha's miracles everywhere. They physically dwell in all places, equanimous in all, with knowledge capable of such action, they enter the Buddha's realm. Having realized enlightened knowledge, they illumine the cosmos equally, fitting into the Buddha's pores the oceans of all worlds. In all Buddha lands they manifest mystic powers, appearing in various bodies, with various names as well. They can, in an instant's time, show miracles everywhere, truly awakening at the sight of enlightenment and turning the will of truth. All lands, wide and vast, billions of ages, inconceivable, appearance of the Buddha 167 can be shown in a moment's span in the enlightening being's concentration. Each and every enlightening being in all the Buddha lands is in the Buddha body, boundless, without limit. Then another great enlightening being in the assembly, named Lion Stretch Wisdom Light, empowered by the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said, Vairocana Buddha can turn the will of truth in all the lands of the cosmos, filling it like clouds. In all the great oceans of worlds in all the 10 directions Buddha's power of mind and will turns the will of truth. In the vast assemblies of beings in all lands his names are not the same, he expounds the truth according to need. Buddha's majestic powers were made by the vows of universal goodness and wisdom, in all lands that wondrous sound reaches everywhere. Buddha's bodies are numerous as atoms in lands, showering the rain of truth everywhere, unborn, without distinction, appearing in all worlds. What he practiced in the past over countless billions of eons in all lands, many as atoms, that wondrous sound can fully tell. Nets of lights pervade all the numberless lands. 168 The flow wer ornament scripture in the lights are Buddha's teaching all beings everywhere. The Buddha body, without distinction, fills the cosmos, able to manifest physical forms, teaching according to potentials. Different are the various names of all the guides in all worlds of all times, they are spoken so all may see. The cycles of sublime teachings of all the Buddhas of past and present all gathered here can hear. Then another great enlightening being in the assembly, named Trishuri of qualities of wisdom of the ocean of truth, empowered by the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said, Buddha children in this assembly cultivate all knowledge and wisdom, these people can enter such gates of means. In each and every land they speak the great sound telling of the Buddha sphere making it heard through all quarters. In each mental moment they observe all things abiding in the state of true thusness, they comprehend the ocean of all phenomena. In every Buddha body for billions of ages, inconceivable, they practiced ways of transcendence and purified all the lands. In each atom they can witness all things, appearance of the Buddha 169 thus without obstruction they go to all lands. To every Buddha field they go without exception, seeing the Buddha's mystic power, they enter the Buddha's realm. The far-reaching sound of the Buddhas is heard throughout the cosmos, enlightening beings can understand, and enter the ocean of sound. Intoning subtle sounds through the eons, those sounds equal, without distinction, those with knowledge of sounds can completely comprehend. Reaching stage after stage, dwelling in the stage of power, they diligently worked for eons, and such is their attainment. Then another great enlightening being in the assembly, named Universal Light of the Lamp of Wisdom, empowered by the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said, all the Buddhas are beyond all forms, who can understand this truth sees the guide of the world. Enlightening beings in meditation, the light of wisdom illumining all, can know the independent essence of all the Buddhas. Seeing the Buddha's real body, they awake to the profound truth, observing everywhere the cosmos, they assume bodies at will. Born from the sea of blessings, abiding in the stage of wisdom, 170 The flower ornament scripture they investigate all things and cultivate the supreme path. In all Buddha lands where all Buddhas are, thus throughout the cosmos, they see the real true body. In immense lands in all quarters, for billions of eons diligently practicing, they are able to roam in true knowledge of the sea of all phenomena. There is only one indestructible immanent body seen in all particles, unborn, signless, it's manifest in all lands. According to the mentalities of beings it appears everywhere before them, showing various means of training, it turns them to the Buddha way. By the spiritual power of the Buddha are enlightening beings born, sustained by the strength of the Buddha, they see all enlightened ones. All the guides with boundless spiritual powers awaken enlightening beings throughout the entire cosmos. Then there was another great enlightening being in the assembly, named Flower Flame Topknot with universally illumining knowledge, who, empowered by the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said, in all lands uttering subtle sounds extolling Buddha's virtues, the cosmos is all filled. Buddha has reality for his body, pure as space itself, appearance of the Buddha 171 all the physical forms that appear he includes in this reality. If anyone has deep faith and joy and is accepted by the Buddhas, know that such a person can engender knowledge comprehending Buddha. Those with little knowledge cannot know these truths, those whose wisdom is pure alone are able to see. By the Buddha's power they examine all phenomena, as they enter, abide, and leave, all they see is clear. In all things boundless are the aspects of teaching, developing omniscience, one enters the deep ocean of reality. Abiding in the Buddha land appearing in all places, no coming and no going, all Buddha's teachings are thus. In the ocean of sentient beings the Buddha body appears like a reflection, according to the differences in their understandings thus do they see the guide. In each and every hairpore he manifests mystical powers, the pure ones who practice the vow of universal wisdom can see. Buddha, with each of his bodies, teaches in every place, pervading the whole cosmos, beyond the reach of thought. Then another great enlightening being in the congregation, named Inexhaustible Light of Majestic Wisdom, empowered by the Buddha, surveyed the 10 directions and said, 172 The flower ornament scripture in each and every Buddha land sits Buddha on all enlightenment sites, surrounded by assembled groups, conquering the armies of demons. The Buddha's body radiates light filling the 10 directions, appearing in accord with need, and forms that are not the same. Every single atom is filled with light, it's seen in all lands in the 10 directions, variously, different in each. The countless various lands in the oceans of lands of all quarters all are level and pure, made of royal sapphires. Some inverted, some sideways, some like lotus buds, some round, some square, they are of various forms. Traveling unimpeded to all lands throughout the universe, in all groups of beings Buddha always teaches. The Buddha body is inconceivable, all lands exist therein, in all places there he guides the worlds, teaching truth. In the subtle teaching he expounds the essence of things is undifferentiated, based on the one real truth, he expounds various characteristics of things. Buddha, with a round, complete sound, exposes the genuine truth, according to differences in understanding, he manifests infinite teachings. Appearance of The Buddha 173 In all lands we see Buddha sitting on the enlightenment site, Buddha's body appears like reflections, its birth or death cannot be found. Then another great enlightening being in the assembly, named Wisdom illumining the universe, empowered by the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said, Inconceivable is the form of the Buddha's subtle body, those who see it rejoice, respecting and believing the teaching. All the features of the Buddha's body each manifest innumerable Buddhas entering all worlds everywhere, into each atom therein. The infinite, boundless Buddhas of all oceans of lands each, in every instant, display their spiritual powers. Enlightening beings of great knowledge enter deeply into the ocean of truth, sustained by the power of the Buddha, they can know his techniques. If any be already established in the practical vows of universal goodness and wisdom, they see in all those lands the mystic powers of all Buddhas. If anyone has certain faith as well as great determination, they'll have profound wisdom and comprehend all things. Able to observe all the Buddha's bodies, form, and sound unhindered, they'll understand all realms. 174 The flower ornament scripture able to abide in the sphere of knowledge of all Buddha bodies, they'll plunge into Buddhahood embracing the whole cosmos. As many as atoms in Buddha lands, this many lands they can cause in an instant to appear in every atom. All lands and deeds of mystic power all appear in a single land, such is the power of enlightening beings. Then another great enlightening being in the assembly, named Unobstructed Wisdom with vigorous power, empowered by the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said, Buddha speaks one subtle sound heard throughout the cosmos, containing all sounds, the reign of truth fills everywhere. With the ocean of all languages, in all sounds according to type, in all Buddha lands, he expounds the pure teaching. In all lands are seen the miracles of the Buddha, hearing the Buddha preach the truth, they head for enlightenment. In each atom of all lands in the cosmos Buddha, by the power of liberation, manifests physical y therein. The reality body is like space, unobstructed, without differentiation. Physical forms appear like reflections, manifesting myriad appearances. Appearance of the Buddha 175 Reflections have no location, like space, they've no substantial nature, those whose wisdom is great will comprehend their equality. The Buddha body is ungraspable, unborn, uncreated, it appears in accord with beings, equanimous as empty space. All Buddhas in the 10 directions enter into a single pore, each showing mystic powers that the eye of wisdom can see. The power of Vairocana Buddha's vows pervades the entire cosmos, in all lands always expounding the unexcelled teaching. The miracles shown in a single hair, even if told of by all the Buddhas for innumerable eons, could not be completely defined. As in this world, at the site of enlightenment, by virtue of the Buddha's spiritual power, there were in each of the 10 directions as many enlightening beings as atoms in a billion oceans of worlds who came and gathered, So you should know that in each world of all oceans of worlds the same thing took place at all the enlightenment sites. Book 3 The Meditation of the Enlightening Being Universally Good Enlightening Being Universally Good, the Great Being, sat on a lion throne made of a bank of lotus flowers, and, imbued with the psychic power of the Enlightened One, entered into concentration. This concentration is called the immanent body of the Illuminator of Thusness, which is in all enlightened ones. It enters everywhere into the equal essence of all enlightened ones, and is capable of manifesting myriad images in the cosmos, vastly and immensely, without obstruction, equal to space. All the whirling oceans of universes flow along into it, it produces all states of concentration, and can contain all worlds in all directions. The oceans of lights of knowledge of all the enlightened ones come from here, it can reveal all the oceans of all conditions everywhere. It contains within it all the powers and liberations of the enlightened ones and the knowledge of the enlightening beings. It can cause the particles of all lands to be universally able to contain boundless universes. It develops the ocean of virtuous qualities of all Buddhas, and reveals the ocean of great vows of these enlightened ones. All the cycles of teaching of the Buddhas flow through it and are guarded and maintained by it, and kept without interruption or end. As in this work the enlightening being Univkris JLLY good CLLTCRCJ this concentration in the presence of the world honored one, thus in the same way throughout the realm of space of the cosmos, in all directions and all times, in a subtle, unhindered, vastly expansive light, in all lands visible to the Buddha's eye, within reach of the Buddha's power, manifested by the Buddha's body, and in each atom of all those lands, there were Buddhas as numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds, and in front of each Buddha were universally good enlightening beings numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds, each also entering into this concentration in the immanent body of the Illuminator of Thusness in enlightened ones. 176 The Meditation of the Enlightenment / Being Universally Good 177 At that time each of the universally good ones saw the Buddhas of the 10 directions appearing before them. Those Buddhas praised universally good in the same voice, good. You are able to enter this enlightening being's concentration in the immanent body of the Illuminator of Thusness in all Buddhas. This is fostered in you by all the Buddhas everywhere together, by means of the power of the original vow of the illuminating realized one Vairocana Buddha, and it is also because you cultivate the power of the practices and vows of all Buddhas, that is to say, because you can activate all the cycles of the enlightening teaching, revealing the ocean of knowledge and wisdom of all enlightened ones, universally illumine all the oceans of distinctions everywhere, without exception, cause sentient beings to clear away confusion and affliction and attain purity, universally accept all lands without attachment, deeply enter the sphere of all enlightened ones without impediment, and universally expound the virtues and qualities of all enlightened ones, because you are able to enter into the true character of all things and develop knowledge and wisdom. Analyze all the media of the teachings, comprehend the faculties of all living beings, and because you are able to hold the ocean of written teachings of all the Buddhas. At that time all the Buddhas of the 10 directions then bestowed on the great enlightening being universally good the knowledge that enters into the power inherent in omniscience, the knowledge that enters into the infinity of the cosmos, the knowledge that perfects the realization of the sphere of all enlightened ones, the knowledge of the becoming and decay of all oceans of worlds, the knowledge of the full extent of the worlds of all sentient beings, the knowledge that abides in the extremely profound liberation of all enlightened ones and the non-discriminating knowledge of all meditation states, the knowledge that enters into the ocean of all faculties of enlightening beings, the knowledge of elocution to turn the will of the teaching in the ocean of languages of all sentient beings, the knowledge that enters in all ways into the bodies of all oceans of worlds in the cosmos, and the knowledge that comprehends the voices of all Buddhas. As in this world in the presence of the Buddha the enlightening being universally good experienced the Buddhas bestowing such knowledge, so in all oceans of worlds, as well as in each atom of all those worlds, so did all the enlightening beings universally good there experience this. Why? Because they had realized that state of mental focus in this way. Then the Buddhas of the 10 directions each extended his right hand and patted universally good on the head. Their hands were each adorned with the marks of greatness, being finely webbed, emanating light, fragrance, and flames. They also produced the various wondrous tones of all Buddhas. And within it were manifested the phenomena of mystical powers, the ocean of vows of universal goodness of all enlightening beings of past, present, and future, the cycles of pure teachings of 178, the flower ornament scripture, all enlightened ones, as well as the images of the Buddhas of past, present, and future. As in this world universally good was patted on the head by all the Buddhas of the 10 directions, so in all the oceans of worlds, and in each atom of those worlds, the enlightening beings universally good there were patted on the head by the Buddhas of the 10 directions. Then the enlightening being universally good arose from this concentration. When he did so, he rose from media of oceans of concentrations numerous as atoms in all oceans of worlds. For example, he rose from the medium of concentration of skillful knowledge, realizing that the worlds of past, present, and future have no distinction in the succession of instants. He rose from the medium of concentration of knowledge of all the subtlest and most minute constituents of all universes in all times. He rose from the medium of concentration on the manifestation of all Buddha fields of past, present, and future. He rose from the medium of concentration revealing the dwelling places of all living beings. He rose from the medium of concentration of knowledge of various differences in locations of the universes of the 10 directions. He rose from the medium of concentration of knowledge of boundlessly vast clouds of Buddha bodies existing in every atom. He rose from the medium of concentration of explanations of the ocean of inner principles in all things. When the enlightening being universally good rose from such media of concentration, all the enlightening beings each found oceanic clouds of concentrations, numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds, found oceanic clouds of spells, oceanic clouds of techniques to teach everything, oceanic clouds of ways of felicitous expression, oceanic clouds of practices, oceanic clouds of lights from the knowledge of the treasury of virtues of all who realize thusness, oceanic clouds of non-discriminating techniques of the powers, knowledges, and wisdom of all enlightened ones, oceanic clouds of Buddhas each manifesting myriad lands in each and every pore, oceanic clouds of enlightening beings one by one manifesting descent from the palace of the Tushita heaven to be born on earth and become an enlightened Buddha, turn the will of the teaching, and enter into ultimate extinction, all as numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds. As when I end this world the enlightening being universally good rose from concentration, all the hosts of enlightening beings received such blessings, so in all the oceans of worlds, as well as in each atom of each world, the same thing occurred. At that time, by the spiritual power of all the Buddhas and the power of universally good's concentration, all oceans of worlds in the 10 directions trembled. Each world was arrayed with precious cloments and gave forth wondrous sound, explaining all things. And on each Buddha, in the ocean of sights of enlightenment where the masses gathered, everywhere there rained 10 kinds of clouds of regal jewels, the meditation of the Enel, F. Huttening being universally good 179 clouds of beautiful gold star jewels, jewels like precious discs descending, shining light jewels of the treasury manifesting the images of enlightening beings, jewels extolling the names of Buddhas, jewels of brilliant light illuminating the sights of enlightenment in Buddha fields everywhere, jewels whose light reflects the various miracles everywhere, jewels praising the virtues of all enlightening beings, jewels with a light that shines like the sun, jewels whose delightful music is heard everywhere. After the universal rain of these 10 kinds of clouds of fuels, all the Buddhas emitted lights from their pores, and in the light rays spoke verses. Universally good is present in all lands sitting on a jeweled lotus throne, beheld by all, he manifests all psychic powers and is able to enter infinite meditations. The universally good always fill the universe with various bodies flowing everywhere, with concentration, psychic power, skill and strength, in a universal voice teaching extensively without hindrance. In every land, in the presence of all the Buddhas, various states of concentration revealing psychic powers, each psychic power pervades everywhere in all lands of the 10 directions. As with the Buddhas of all lands, so it is in all the atoms of the lands as well, the phenomena of concentration and mystic powers are the will power of the illuminator. Universally good physically is like space, abiding by reality, not a land, according to the heart's desires of all beings, manifesting all kinds of embodiments, equal to all. Universally good, abiding at peace in great determination, thus attain these infinite spiritual powers, in any lands of all Buddha bodies manifesting his form going there. All the myriad oceans are boundless, he reproduces his body infinitely and dwells there, all lands of his manifestation are purified, and in an instant arc seen many cons 180. The flower omament scripture universally good lives peacefully in all lands, the spiritual powers he displays are incomparable, the trembling extending everywhere causes those who look to be able to see. The knowledge, virtue, and powers of all Buddhas, their various great qualities, he has all fulfilled, by the medium of techniques of all meditations he shows his past enlightening acts. Such independence, inconceivable, is manifest in the lands of the 10 directions to reveal the universal entrance of all meditations, in the clouds of Buddha light his praises are sung. Then all the hosts of enlightening beings turned to universally good, joined their palms and gazed respectfully at universally good, imbued with the psychic power of the enlightened, they sang in praise with the same voice, born from the teachings of the enlightened, also originating from the will power of the Buddha, the womb of space, the equality of real thusness, you have purified this body of reality. In the congregations of all Buddha fields universally good is omnipresent there, the light of the oceans of universal virtue and wisdom equally illumine everywhere, so all are visible. The immensely vast oceans of virtues of universally good goes everywhere to approach the enlightened, to the lands within all atoms he can travel and clearly appear there. 0 Child of Buddha, we always see you associating with all the enlightened ones, abiding in the real state of concentration for cons numerous as atoms in all lands. The child of Buddha, with an all-pervading body, can go to the lands in all directions, liberating all the oceans of living beings, entering into all the parts of the cosmos. The meditation of the Enel, Irig being or one Iversally good 181 entering into all particles of the cosmos, the body is endless and undifferentiated, omnipresent as space, it expounds the great teaching of the realization of thusness. The light of all virtue, immense like clouds, power surpassing, traveling to all oceans of living beings expounding the incomparable way practiced by all Buddhas. Cultivating and learning the supreme practice of universal goodness in order to liberate sentient beings for oceans of cons, expounding all truths, like a great cloud, the voice is tremendous, none do not hear. How can the land be established? How do the Buddhas appear? And how about beings? Please explain truthfully the truth as it is. Book 4 The Formation of The Worlds The and the Great Enlightening Being Universally Good, by means of the spiritual power of the Buddha, looked over the oceans of all worlds, the oceans of all sentient beings, the oceans of all Buddhas, the oceans of all elemental realms, the oceans of all sentient beings' actions, the oceans of all sentient beings' faculties and inclinations, the oceans of all teaching cycles of all Buddhas, the oceans of all time periods, the oceans of all powers of vows of the Buddhas, and the oceans of all the Buddha's miracles. Having thus observed and examined all these, he declared to all the enlightening beings in the ocean of congregations at all scenes of enlightenment, children of Buddha, the Buddha's pure knowledge of the formation and disintegration of all oceans of worlds is inconceivable. Their knowledge of the oceans of actions of all sentient beings is inconceivable. Their knowledge of the oceans of structures of all mental realms is inconceivable. Their knowledge which can tell of the oceans of all inclinations, understandings, and faculties is inconceivable. Their instantaneous knowledge of all the past, present, and future is inconceivable. Their knowledge revealing the boundless ocean of vows of all enlightened ones is inconceivable. Their knowledge demonstrating the oceans of miracles of all Buddhas is inconceivable. Their knowledge operating the cycles of teaching is inconceivable. Their knowledge of how to construct explanations is inconceivable. Their pure Buddha bodies are inconceivable. Their oceans of boundless forms illumining everywhere are inconceivable. Their marks and subsidiary refinements, all pure, are inconceivable. Their ocean of boundless auras, fully pure, is inconceivable. Their ocean of clouds of light of various colors is inconceivable. Their ocean of extraordinary jewel radiance is inconceivable. Their ocean of perfect languages is inconceivable. Their ocean of powers of magical displays to civilize and develop sentient beings is inconceivable. Their oceans of courageous taming of all sentient beings, letting none go to ruin, is inconceivable. Their abode in the state of Buddhahood is inconceivable. Their entry into the realm of realization of thusness is inconceivable. Their protective and sustaining power is 182. The formation of the worlds 183 inconceivable. Their examination of all spheres of enlightened knowledge is inconceivable. Their spheres of power, which none can overcome, are inconceivable. Their quality of fearlessness, which none can surpass, is inconceivable. Their abiding in undifferentiated concentration is inconceivable. Their miraculous displays are inconceivable. Their pure independent knowledge is inconceivable. All the enlightening teachings, which none can destroy, are inconceivable. All these things I shall, with the power of the Buddha and of all enlightened ones, fully expound, to cause all sentient beings to enter the ocean of knowledge and wisdom of the Buddha, to cause all enlightening beings to abide securely in the ocean of virtues of the Buddha, to cause all oceans of worlds to be adorned by the freedom of the Buddhas, to cause the lineage of the enlightened ones to continue unbroken throughout all ages, to cause the real true nature of all things to be pointed out in all oceans of worlds, to cause all sentient beings to be taught in accordance with their understandings, to cause the expedient methods according to the ocean of all beings' faculties to induce them to engender the qualities of Buddhahood, to cause the mountains of all obstructions to be smashed, according to the inclinations of all beings, to cause all sentient beings to purify and master the essential ways of emancipation in accordance with their mentalities, and to cause all enlightening beings to abide in the ocean of vows of universal goodness and wisdom. Now the enlightening being universally good, because he wished to gladden the innumerable beings at the sight of enlightenment, to increase their appreciation of all truths, to cause them to conceive an ocean of great true faith and resolve, to cause them to purify the all-sided cosmic matrix body, to cause them to establish the ocean of vows of the universally good, to cause them to purify the eye of equanimous knowledge, which enters equally into past, present, and future, to cause them to increase the ocean of great wisdom illumining the repository of all worlds, to cause them to develop memory power to hold all the teaching cycles, to cause the whole realm of Buddhahood to be manifest in all enlightenment sites, to cause all the Buddha teachings to be brought forth, to increase the nature of vast, profound all knowledge of the cosmos. He spoke these verses. The exceedingly profound ocean of virtues of wisdom appears in innumerable lands throughout the 10 directions, its light shining everywhere, turning the will of the teaching in accord with what the various sentient beings need to see. The ocean of lands of the 10 directions is inconceivable. Buddha has purified them all, over immeasurable eons, in order to edify beings and cause them to mature. He appears in all lands. 184 The flower ornament scripture. The Buddha's real M is most profound, inconceivable. He shows it to all beings, letting them enter, but their minds like the petty and are attached to existence, so they cannot understand what the Buddha has realized. If any have pure faith and unshakable minds and are always able to associate with good teachers, all the Buddhas will give their power so they can enter enlightened knowledge. Beyond flattery and deception, hearts pure, always gladly kind and compassionate, of joyful natures, determination broad and great, faith profound, such people, hearing this teaching, are glad. Dwelling on the ground of universally good vows, cultivating the pure ways of enlightening beings, regarding the cosmos like space, these people can know the Buddha's sphere. Such enlightening beings gain true benefit seeing the Buddha's mystical powers. None who practice other paths can know, only those of universally good practice can understand. Sentient beings are infinite. Buddha guards them all in his thoughts, teaching the truth, reaching all, the power of Vairocana's realm. All lands are in my body and so are the Buddhas living there. Watch my pores, and I will show you the Buddha's realm. The practice and vows of universally good are boundless, I have already fully cultivated them. The vast body of the realm of the universal I is the Buddha's sphere, listen clearly. Then the great enlightening being universally good said to the great masses, 0 children of Buddha, there are 10 things about the world oceans which the Buddhas of past, present, and future have explained, do explain, and will explain. What are these 10? They are the causes and conditions of the origination of the world oceans, the basis of the formation of the world's 185 world oceans, the forms of the world oceans, the substances and natures of the world oceans, the adornments of the world oceans, the purity of the world oceans, the appearance of Buddhas in the world oceans, the eons of subsistence of the world oceans, the differences in changes over the ages of the world oceans, and the aspects of the world oceans that have no differences. If expressed in brief there are these 10 things, but if they are fully expounded, there are as many as atoms in an ocean of worlds, which the Buddhas of past, present, and future have, do, and will explain. Children of Buddha, if explained in brief, there are 10 kinds of causes and conditions by which all oceans of worlds have been formed, are formed, and will be formed. What are the 10? They are, because of the Buddha's mystical powers, because they must be so by natural law, because of the acts of all sentient beings, because of what is realized by all enlightening beings developing omniscience, because of the roots of goodness accumulated by both enlightening beings and all sentient beings, because of the power of the vows of enlightening beings purifying lands, because enlightening beings have accomplished practical undertakings without regressing, because of the enlightening beings' freedom of pure resolve, because of the independent power flowing from the roots of goodness of all enlightened ones and the moment of enlightenment of all Buddhas, and because of the independent power of the vows of the universally good. This is a summary explanation of 10 kinds of causes. If I were to explain in full, there are as many as atoms in an ocean of worlds. Then the great enlightening being universally good, in order to reiterate the meaning of what he had said, receiving the power of the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and spoke these verses. The boundless ocean of myriad lands explained Vairocana Buddha has all beautifully purified. The world-honored one's realm is inconceivable, such are his knowledge, wisdom, and mystic powers. Enlightening beings cultivate the practice of oceans of vows, universally adapting to the inclinations of sentient beings. The mentalities of sentient beings are boundless, the enlightening beings' lands extend throughout all 10 directions. Enlightening beings aim for omniscience, diligently cultivating various spiritual powers, generating oceans of infinite vows, developing vast, expansive lands. 186 The flower ornament scripture cultivating oceans of practices, without bound, they enter the realm of Buddhahood, also infinite, in order to purify the lands in the 10 directions, they spend countless khans in each land. Sentient beings are muddled by afflictions, their conceptions and inclinations are not the same, according to their mental states they perform inconceivably many acts, thereby forming the oceans of all lands. The treasury of adornments of the lands of Buddha children is made of jewels of undefiled light, this depends on a mind of vast resolute faith. Their dwelling places in all quarters are all like this. Enlightening beings can cultivate the universally good practice, traveling paths as numerous as atomic particles in the cosmos, in each atom revealing countless lands pure and vast as space. They manifest mystic powers equal in extent to space and go to enlightenment sites where the Buddhas are. Upon their lotus seats they reveal many forms, in each and every body containing all lands. In a single instant they reveal past, present, and future. Here all oceans of lands are formed. Buddha, by appropriate techniques, enters them all. This is what Vairocana has purified. Then the enlightening being universally good said to the congregation, 0 children of Buddha, each of the oceans of worlds has bases of support as numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds. That is to say, they may rest on all adornments, or in space, or on the lights of all jewels, or on the lights of all Buddhas, or on the lights of the colors of all jewels, or on the voices of all Buddhas, or on illusory actions, or on thunderbolt bearers in the form of powerful titans, or on the bodies of all the leaders of the worlds, or on the bodies of all enlightening beings, or on the ocean of all different embellishments produced by the power of the vows of the universally good enlightening beings. The oceans of worlds have such bases as these, as many as atoms in an ocean of worlds. Then, in order to reiterate the meaning of this, universally good, receiving the power of the Buddha, surveyed the 10 directions and said in verse, the formation of the worlds 187 all the various lands their arc filling space in the 10 directions sustained by Buddha's mystic power appear in all places, so all can see. There are some varieties of lands made of undefiled jewels, pure gems, the most exquisite, radiating everywhere oceans of light. Then there are lands of pure light which rest in the realm of space, some are in oceans of wells, some rest in mines of light. Buddha, in the midst of this ocean of groups, expounds teachings, all skillful and subtle. The realm of the Buddhas is boundlessly vast, beings who see it are gladdened at heart. Some are embellished with precious stones shaped like flower lamps in vast arrays, their clouds of fragrant flame light blazing with color, covered with webs of fuel lights. Some lands have no boundaries, they rest in the deep, immense lotus sea, broad, pure, unique among worlds, because they're adorned by Buddha's goodness. Some world oceans revolve, stabilized by Buddha's power, enlightening beings arc everywhere there, always seeing immeasurably vast treasures. Some rest in thunderbolt hands, some on celestial leaders' bodies, the supremely honored Vairocana is always here actively teaching. Some rest evenly on jewel trees, or likewise on clouds of fragrant flames, some rest on great bodies of water, some in the ocean of indestructible diamond. 188 The flower ornament scripture. Some rest on thunderbolt banners, some are in flower seas, vast mystic powers all-pervading, Vairocana here can appear. Some long, some short, there are innumerable kinds, different to arc the rings they form. Their stores of beautiful adornments arc extraordinary, only the purified and cultivated can see. Thus each of them arc different, but all rest on the ocean of vows. Some lands arc always in space, with Buddhas like clouds filling them. Some hang upside down in space, sometimes existing, sometimes not. Some lands are extremely pure, resting in enlightening beings' precious crowns. The great spiritual powers of the Buddhas everywhere all arc seen herein, the voices of the Buddhas fill them all, produced by the power of deeds. Some lands fill the universe, pure, undefiled, arising from mind, like reflections, illusions, boundlessly vast, each did tcrcnt, like in Indra's net. Some show stores of various adornments set up in empty space. Realms of actions arc inconceivable, Buddha's power reveals them for all to see. Inside the particles of each land constantly revealing the Buddha lands, their numbers infinite, equal to beings, such is the action of the universally good. In order to fully develop beings he cultivated practice here for infinite cons, producing great miraculous displays extending everywhere through the cosmos. The formatio 11 of the worlds 189 in each atom of the lands of the cosmos rest the vast oceans of worlds, clouds of Buddhas equally cover them all, filling every place. Like the free action in one atom so it is in all atoms, all the great occult powers of Buddhas and enlightening beings Vairocana can cause to appear. All the vast lands arc like reflections, illusions, or flames, nowhere is their origin seen, nor where they go or whence they came. Disintegration and formation recur in cycles without pause, in the midst of space, all depends on pure vows sustained by the vast power of action. Then the enlightening being universally good said further to the great congregation, children of Buddha, the oceans of worlds have various different forms and characteristics. That is to say, some arc round, some square, some neither round nor square. There are infinite distinctions. Some arc shaped like whirlpools, some like mountains of flames, some like trees, some like flowers, some like palaces, some like living creatures, some like Buddhas. There are as many forms such as these as there are atoms in an ocean of worlds. Then, to review this point, universally good, imbued with the power of the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said, the oceans of lands are variously different, various adornments, various supports, different forms, all beautiful, pervade the 10 directions, you should together all observe them. Some are round, some arc square, some triangular, some octagonal, gemstone wheel-shaped, lotus blossoms, and so on, all arc differenti, according G to deeds. Some have arrays of pure flames, mixed with gold, most rarely fine, 190 the flower Omarnan scripture all doors open, with no resistance, this is from deeds broad-minded and pure. The store of boundless differences of the oceans of worlds is like clouds draped in the sky, jewel discs spread on the ground in wonderful arrays, the lights of the Buddhas shining therein. All lands, distinctions of mind, appear reflected in various lights, in these oceans of worlds Buddhas each manifest mystical powers. Some lands are dirty, some are pure, pleasant or painful, each is different. This comes from the inconceivable ocean of acts, cyclic phenomena are always like this. Inside a single hairpore, inconceivable lands with various bases, many as atoms, in each of them a universal illuminator expounds the truth in the midst of the crowd. In a single atom, great and small lands, variously different, as numerous as atoms, level, high and low, each is different, Buddha goes to all to operate the teaching. The lands manifested in a single atom are all the occult power of the original vow, according to the various differences in inclination of mind all can be made, in the midst of space. In all atoms of all lands Buddha enters, each and every one, producing miracle displays for sentient beings, such is the way of Vairocana. Then the enlightening being universally good also said to the great assembly, children of Buddha, know that the oceans of worlds have various substances. Some have bodies of arrays of all jewels, some arc of various ornaments made of all precious substances, some arc of lights of all jewels, some arc of lights of various col ores, some arc of lights of various adornments, some arc composed of Buddha's powers, some arc of characteristics of fine gems, some arc made of miraculous displays of the formations of the world's 191 Buddhas, some arc of jewel sun discs, some are of extremely minute, fine jewels, some arc made of radiance of all jewels. Some are of various fragrances, some are made of crowns of precious flowers, some arc of all jewel reflections, some are made of what is manifested by all adornments, some are made of an instant of mind manifesting the whole cosmos, some arc made of jewels in the forms of enlightening beings, some arc made of jewel flower pistils, some are made of the spoken sounds of the Buddhas. Then, to repeat this, universally good surveyed the 10 directions by the Buddha's power and said, there are some oceans of worlds compounded of jewels, solid and unbreakable, resting on precious lotus blossoms. Some arc pure light beams of unknowable origin, these arrays of all light beams rest in empty space. Some are made of pure light and also rest on light rays embellished with clouds of light where enlightening beings roam. There are some oceans of lands born of the power of vows, existing like reflections, they can be grasped or explained. Some arc made of precious stones emitting sunlight light, discs of pearls adorn the ground, and enlightening beings abound. Some lands are made of jewel flames, covered with clouds of flames, the radiance of the jewel superb, all comes from results of acts. Some arc born of subtle forms, with various features adorning the ground, like crowns holding all jewels, these come from the Buddha's work. 192 The flower ornament scripture Some are born from the ocean of minds, existing according to what the minds understand. Like illusions, they have no locus, all arc mental constructions. Some are made of the precious light of the Buddha's aura, all the Buddhas appear therein, each producing miracles. Some universally good enlightening beings produce various oceans of lands, adorned by the power of their vows, all exceptionally sublime. Then the enlightening being universally good also said to the great congregation, know that the oceans of worlds have various adornments. Some arc adorned by all ornaments producing beautiful clouds, some by explanations of the virtues of all enlightening beings, some by explanations of the rewards of actions of all sentient beings, some by revelations of the ocean of vows of all enlightening beings, some by representations of the images of all Buddhas of past, present, and future, some by the spheres of occult powers revealing boundless cons in a single moment, some by production of all Buddha bodies, some by production of fragrant clouds of all Juls, some by radiant lights showing the wonderful things in all enlightenment scenes, some by illustration of the practices and vows of all universally good ones. There are as many such adornments as atoms in an ocean of worlds. Then, to repeat, universally good, imbued with the power of the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said, the vast oceans of lands are boundless, all are made from pure action, with various adornments and various abodes, they fill all 10 directions. Clouds of Jul flames of boundless forms, vast arrays of adornments, not the same, always appear in all oceans of lands, radiating subtle sounds expounding the truth. Adorned by the various great vows of the enlightening beings boundless sea of virtues, the formation of the worlds 193 these lands simultaneously produce sublime sounds shaking the network of the lands of the 10 directions. The ocean of beings acts is vast, immeasurable, according to the results they effect, the lands arc each didierant. The adornments in all places can tell of this, by the Buddha's powers. The spiritual powers of Buddha's past, present, and future appear throughout the oceans of lands, in each phenomenon all the Buddhas appear, thus do they purify you should observe. Past, future, and present cons, all lands in the 10 directions, and all the adornments therein, all appear in each land. In all phenomena are countless Buddhas, as many as Bain-gs, filling the world, in order to teach they produce mystic effects whereby they adorn the oceans of lands. All the adornments emit beautiful clouds of various flowers and fragrant flames, with clouds of Juls appearing as well, the oceans of worlds are embellished with these. All sights of enlightenment in the 10 directions are complete with all kinds of adornment, flowing lights spread afar, like clouds of color, all are shown in this ocean of lands. The practice of the vows of the universally good Buddha children have practiced for cons as many as beings, boundless lands have they all adorned, all appearing in all places. Then universally good also said to the congregation, know that in the oceans of worlds there are oceans of purifying techniques as many as atoms in an ocean of worlds. That is to say, the enlightening beings associate with all good teachers to cultivate the same roots of goodness, they cause great clouds of virtues to grow, extending throughout the universe, they clarify all their great beliefs, they contemplate the spheres of all enlightening beings and abide therein, they cultivate all 194 the flower ornament scripture means of transcendence and fulfill them, they contemplate all stages of enlightenment and enter them, they produce the ocean of all pure aspirations, they cultivate all practices essential for emancipation, they enter into the ocean of all adornments, they perfect the power of purifying methods. There are as many of these and others as there are atoms in an ocean of worlds. Then, to reiterate, universally good looked over the 10 directions by the power of the Buddha invested in him, and said, the adornments of all oceans of worlds are reborn from countless techniques, vows, and powers, all the oceans of lands always shine, produced by the power of countless pure deeds. Forever associating with good teachers, together doing good works, all pure, with great compassion extending to all beings, thereby are world oceans adorned. Concentration on all the teachings, meditation, liberation, and skill in means all purified with the Buddha, thus are the world oceans born. Developing boundless certainty, able to understand like the Buddha, having purified patience and skill in means, thus can boundless lands be purified. Cultivating supreme practices to aid sentient beings, virtue great and always growing, like clouds spreading as far as space, thus are world oceans perfected. The transcending means are infinite, many as Hein-gs, all have the Buddha's practice to perfection, transcendent vow-taking has no end, pure world oceans are born from here. Purely practicing all peerless truths, developing boundless liberating practices, edifying beings by various means, thus are beautified oceans of worlds. Practicing techniques of adornment, entering the ocean of teachings of enlightened virtues, the formation of the worlds 195 causing all beings to dry up the source of suffering, thus are vast lands perfected. The ocean of powers is peerlessly great, causing all beings to plant roots of good, making offerings to all the enlightened, thus are boundless lands all purified. Then universally good address the masses again, Buddha children, know that in each ocean of worlds there are differences in the manifestation of the Buddhas, as many as atomic particles in an ocean of worlds. That is, some manifest small bodies, some large bodies, some manifest short lives, some long lives, some only adorn and purify a single Buddha land, some adorn and purify innumerable Buddha lands, some only reveal one vehicle of teaching, some reveal inconceivably many vehicles of teaching, some appear to tame a few sentient beings, some tame boundless sentient beings. Such differences as these are as many as atomic particles in an ocean of worlds. Then universally good, to review, looked over the 10 directions by the power he received from the Buddha, and said, various accommodating methods of the Buddhas appear in all the oceans of worlds, all adapted to the inclinations of sentient beings. This is the Buddha's power of skillful expedients. The reality body of the Buddhas is inconceivable, colorless, formless, beyond any image, yet able to manifest myriad forms for sentient beings, causing them to sec, according to their inclinations. Some manifest short lives for beings, some appear to live for countless cons. The reality body manifests throughout the 10 directions, appearing in the world according to suitability. Some there are who beautify and purify all the inconceivable oceans of worlds in all directions, and some only purify one single land, yet showing all within that one. Some, according to the mentalities of sentient beings, reveal inconceivably many various vehicles of liberation. 196 The flower ornament scripture. Some only expound one vehicle of teaching, yct within that one arc revealed innumerable methods. Some there are who, naturally enlightened, cause a few beings to abide in the way. Some can in a single instant awaken countless deluded ones. Some produce mystical clouds from their pores which manifest countless, boundless Buddhas appearing in all worlds, liberating beings by various means. Some there are whose spoken sounds pervade everywhere explaining truth in accord with mental inclinations of beings, through inconceivably many eons taming oceans of countless beings. Some have infinite beautified worlds, their congregations pure, sitting solemnly, Buddhas like clouds spreading over, filling the oceans of worlds in the 10 directions. The techniques of the Buddhas are inconceivable, all appearing in accord with beings' minds, abiding in various beautified fields, extending throughout all lands. Then universally good again address the great assembly, Buddha children, know that the oceans of worlds have as many spans of existence as there are atoms in an ocean of worlds. That is, some abide for an incalculable con, some abide for an infinite eon, some abide for a boundless con, some abide for an incomparable eon, some abide for an uncountable con, some abide for an unspeakable con, some abide for an inconceivable con, some abide for an immeasurable eon, some abide for an inexplicable con. There are as many such spans as atoms in an ocean of worlds. Then, to review, universally good, looking over the 10 directions by the power received from the Buddha, said, among the oceans of worlds are various ages, adorned by vast, extensive technical skills, observing all the lands in the 10 directions, the differences in the measures of their ages become clear. The formation of the worlds 197 I see that the eon lengths in the world oceans of the 10 directions are innumerable, same as sentient beings, some long, some short, some are without bounds. I now tell of them, by the Buddha's voice. I see the oceans of lands in the 10 directions, some abide for cons numerous as atoms, some for one eon, some for numberless, each is different, due to the variety of vows. Some are wholly pure, some wholly defiled, then again, in some purity and defilement are mixed. The structures of the oceans of vows vary, abiding in the conceptions of sentient beings. Having cultivated practices for khans as many as atoms may land and attained vast and pure oceans of worlds, the Buddha's realm is fully adorned, abiding forever, through boundless khans. Some khans are called light of various jewels, some, mind of radiant eyes, or equal sound, undefiled light, or aeon of virtue. These pure aeons contain all khans. There are pure khans where one Buddha appears, or in one aeon countless Buddhas may appear. With inexhaustible skill in means and great willpower, they enter into all the various ages. Infinite aeons may enter one khan, or one khanranai enter Ranani aeons. The various aspects of the ocean of all aeons clearly appear in the lands of the 10 directions. The adornments of khans may all appear in one khan, or the adornments of one khan may enter boundless khans. From the first moment to the completion of the khan, all is born from the conceptions of beings' minds. All oceans of lands, their khans boundless, are purified by one technique. 198 The flower ornament script to read and universally good also said to the masses, children of Buddha, you should know that the oceans of worlds have as many differences in changes in the ages as there are atoms in an ocean of worlds. That is, as a consequence of natural law, the oceans of worlds have innumerable changes of the ages, forming and disintegrating. Because defiled beings live in them, the oceans of worlds have changes in the ages, becoming defiled. As a result of having sentient beings who cultivate great virtues living in them, the oceans of worlds have changes in the ages, coming to have some purity in the midst of their defilements, as a result of enlightening beings with faith and understanding living there. World oceans have changes in the ages, coming to have more purity than defilement, as a result of innumerable beings there conceiving the will for enlightenment. The oceans of worlds have changes in their ages, becoming totally pure, as a result of enlightening beings traveling in the various worlds. The oceans of worlds have changes in the ages, becoming beautified with boundless adornment, as a result of the enlightening beings of all the world oceans in the 10 directions gathering, world. Oceans have changes in the ages, becoming beautified with infinite great adornments, because of the Buddhas passing away into nirvana. World oceans have changes in the ages, their adornments dying out, because of Buddhas appearing in the worlds. Oceans of worlds have changes in the ages, becoming extensively beautified and purified, because of the mystic powers and edifying miracles of the Buddhas. World oceans have changes in the ages, becoming pure all over. There are as many such changes as atoms in an ocean of worlds. Then, to reiterate, the enlightening being universally good, looking over the 10 directions by the power received from the Buddha, said in verse, all lands are born according to the power of actions. You all should observe the forms of changes as they are. Defiled sentient beings are bound by habitual confusions, to be feared. Their minds cause oceans of worlds to all become defiled. If any have pure hearts and cultivate virtuous deeds, their minds will cause oceans of worlds to have purity mixed with defilement. The formation of the worlds. 199 If enlightening beings of faith and understanding are born in the age, according to what's in their minds, purity mixed with defilement will show. When infinite sentient beings determine on enlightenment, their minds will cause world oceans to be pure for that age. When boundless billions of enlightening beings travel to all quarters, adornments, all of them equal, are variously seen through the age. When in each and every atom of Buddha lands as many as atoms enlightening beings gather together, all the lands are pure. When a Buddha passes away, that land's adornments perish. If no beings are vessels of truth, that land becomes defiled. If a Buddha appears in the world, everything is marvelous, in accord with the purity of mind, all adornments are complete. The spiritual powers of the Buddhas are shown in inconceivable numbers, then the ocean of lands are all totally pure. Then universally good again addressed the assembly, children of Buddha, know that there are many ways in which the oceans of worlds are not different, as many as atoms in an ocean of worlds. That is, there is no difference in the number of worlds in each ocean of worlds, being as many as atoms in an ocean of worlds. There is no difference in the powers of the Buddhas appearing in each ocean of worlds. there is no difference in that all enlightenment sites in each ocean of worlds pervade the cosmos in all directions. There is no difference in the assemblies at the enlightenment sites of all the Buddhas in each ocean of worlds. There is no difference in the auras of all the Buddhas. In each ocean of 200 the flower ornament scripture worlds pervading the cosmos, there is no difference in the miracles and epithets of all Buddhas in each ocean of worlds. There is no difference in the voices of all the Buddhas in each ocean of worlds pervading the ocean of worlds and abiding forever. There is no difference in the techniques of the teaching cycles in each ocean of worlds. There is no difference in that in each ocean of worlds all oceans of worlds everywhere enter into the individual atom. There is no difference in that in each and every atom of each ocean of worlds are manifest the vast real MS of all the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. The aspects of the oceans of worlds which are not different are, briefly stated, thus, if they are fully told, there are as many as atoms in an ocean of worlds. Then the enlightening being universally good, to recapitulate, looked over the 10 directions by the power of the Buddha and said verse, in each atom are many oceans of worlds, their locations each different, all beautifully pure, thus docs infinity enter into one, YCT each units distinct, with no overlap. Within each atom are inconceivably many Buddhas appearing everywhere in accord with beings' minds, reaching everywhere in all oceans of worlds. This technique of theirs is the same for all. In each and every atom are enlightenment trees, all draped with various adornments in which all lands alike appear, in this all are no different. In each atom are congregations numerous as atoms, all surrounding the leader of humanity, going beyond all, pervading the worlds, yet with no crowding or confusion. In each atom are innumerable lights pervading the lands of the 10 directions, all showing the Buddha's enlightening practices, the same in all oceans of worlds. In each atom are infinite bodies transforming like clouds, circulating everywhere, by mystic Buddha powers they guide all beings, no different in all 10 directions lands. The formation of the worlds 21 in each atom are expounded many teachings, those teachings are pure and revolve like wheels. The gates of freedom by various means are all told of, without discrimination. One atom emanates all Buddha's voices, filling those beings who are receptors of truth, omnipresent in the oceans of worlds for countless eons. These voices too have no difference. The countless beautiful adornments of oceans of worlds all enter inside a single atom. Such mystic powers of the Buddhas all arise from the nature of action. In each atom the Buddhas of all times appear, according to inclinations, while their essential nature neither comes nor goes. By their vow power they pervade the worlds. Book 5 The Flower Bank World. Then the enlightening being universally good again addressed the great assembly, saying, Children of Buddha, this flower bank ray ocean of worlds was adorned and purified by Vairocana Buddha, as in the remote past he cultivated enlightening practices for as many eons as atoms in an ocean of worlds, in each eon associating with as many Buddhas as there are atoms in an ocean of worlds, in the presence of each Buddha purely practicing great vows as numerous as atoms in an ocean of worlds. This flower bank array ocean of worlds is supported by as many atmospheres as there are atoms in the polar mountain. The bottommost atmosphere is called impartial abode, it holds arrays of blazing flames of all jewels above it. The next atmosphere is called producing various precious adornments, it holds diamond banners radiant with pure light above it. The next higher atmosphere is called precious power, it holds chimes of all jewels above it. The next higher atmosphere is called impartial flavor, it holds diamond orbs of the appearance of sunlight above it. The next higher atmosphere is called various universal adornments, it holds flowers of light discs above it. The next higher atmosphere is called universal purity, it holds flaming lion thrones of all flowers above it. The next higher atmosphere is called sound pervading the 10 directions, it holds banners of all regal pearls above it. The next higher atmosphere is called light of all jewels, it holds all diamond tree flowers above it. The next higher atmosphere is called high velocity universal support, it holds mountainous clouds of all fragrant gems above it. The next higher atmosphere is called various mansions in motion, it holds clouds of pedestals of all precious colors and fragrances above it. The uppermost of those atmospheres, as numerous as atoms in a mountain, is called repository of supreme light. It holds an ocean of fragrant water, adorned by radiant diamonds. In this ocean of fragrant water is an enormous lotus blossom, called banner of fragrance, with pistils of all kinds of lights. This flower bank, a ray ocean of worlds, rests therein. This ocean of worlds is square and level. 202 The flower bank world 203 pure and stable, surrounded by diamond circular mountains. Its lands, seas, and trees each have distinct boundaries. Then universally good, to recapitulate, looked over the 10 directions with the power of the Buddha and said in verse, in the past the Buddha, in all states of being, cultivated pure deeds with Buddhas as many as atoms. Thus he attained the flower bank array ocean of worlds with all kinds of fuel lights. His vast clouds of mercy cover all. He has given up his body innumerable times. Because of the power of his past cons of practice, this world now has no defilements. It emanates great light, which abides throughout space, held by atmospheric power. It doesn't tremble or quake. It is adorned everywhere by jewels of Buddha's treasury. The power of Buddha's vows has made it pure. Strewn about are flowers of beautiful minds of jewels, resting in the sky through the power of ancient vows. Over an ocean of various adornments, stable and strong, clouds of light spread, filling the 10 directions. In all the jewels are clouds of enlightening beings traveling to all quarters, blazing with light, rimmed with glowing flames. Beautiful flower ornaments circulate throughout the universe, reaching everywhere. From all the jewels emanates pure light which totally illumines the ocean of all beings, pervading all lands in the 10 directions. It frees them from pain and turns them to enlightenment. The Buddhas in the jewels are equal in number to all beings. From their hair pores they emanate phantom forms, celestial beings, world rulers, and so on, including forms of all beings as well as Buddhas. Their magical light beams arc as many as all things. In the light they intone the names of all Buddhas. By various means they teach and civilize, accommodating all the various minds everywhere. 204 The flower ornament script to re in each atom of the flower bank world is seen the universe of the elemental cosmos. Jewel lights display Buddhas like masses of clouds. This is the Buddha's freedom in his field. The vast cloud of his vows extends throughout the cosmos, edifying all beings throughout all time. Having completed the practice of the state of knowledge of universal good, all the adornments there are emerge from here. Then universally good again address the great congregation, children of Buddha. The surrounding mountains of this flower bank array ocean of worlds rest on lotus blossoms of sun pearls. Their mass is made of sandalwood crystals, their peaks of majestic diamonds. Their curves are made of precious stones of exquisite fragrance. They are composed of fiery diamonds. Rivers of all perfumes flow between them. Their forests are made of all kinds of jewels. They are covered with beautiful flowers and fragrant herbs, and studded with bright pearls. Nets of precious stones are draped all around. There are as many such beautiful adornments as there are atoms in an ocean of worlds. Then, to recapitulate, universally good, the enlightening being, receiving spiritual power from the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said in verse, the great ocean of worlds has no bounds, its circumference of fuels is pure and multicolored. All the adornments it has are of rare beauty. This comes from the spiritual power of the Buddha. Rings of fuels, rings of exquisite incense, as well as rings of pearls and lamp flames, various beautiful treasures adorn it, whereon rest a pure ring of mountains. Their minds are of solid jewels, they're decorated with rose gold, their light blazes throughout the 10 directions, inside and out they shine, all pure and clear. Made of masses of diamonds, also raining beautiful jewels, their jewel atmospheres are unique and different, radiating pure light beautifying everywhere. The flower batsk world 205 The fragrant rivers divide into streams of infinite hues, scattering flower jewels and sandalwood, with lotuses thickly blooming, like clothing spread, and rare plants abundantly growing, all of them aromatic. Countless jewel trees adorn everywhere, the colors of their blooming flowers radiantly bright, various kinds of fine raiment are placed thereon, with clouds of light shining everywhere, all round and full. Countless, boundless great enlightening beings holding canopies, burning incense, fill the universe, each producing all wonderful voices everywhere expounding the Buddha's true teaching. The trees of precious elements have branches of fuels, each jewel branch emitting light, Vairocana's pure body enters therein, causing all to section. In all the adornments are manifest Buddha bodies of boundless forms and countless numbers, all going to all quarters, reaching everywhere, the beings they teach also being limitless. All the adornments emit sublime sounds expounding the circle of the Buddha's original vows. Buddha's independent power causes them to pervade all the pure oceans of lands there are. Then universally good also said, the land within the surrounding mountains of this ocean of worlds is all made of diamond. Its stable, strong adornments cannot be broken. It is clean and level. It is fringed by precious stones and contains repositories of jewels. It is arrayed at intervals with all kinds of gems in the various forms of all sentient beings. It is strewn with jewel dust and spread with lotus blossoms, with jewels from fragrant mines placed among them. The various adornments fill everywhere, like clouds. It is decorated with all the embellishments of all the Buddha lands of past, present, and future. It is webbed with beautiful precious stones, which reflect the states of all the Buddhas like the net of Indra, Emperor of the heavens, hanging there. The ground of this ocean of worlds has adornments such as these, as many as atoms in an ocean of worlds. Then, to recapitulate, universally good, receiving spiritual power from the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said, 206 The flower ornament script to re that ground is level and utterly pure, firmly abiding, indestructible, it is adorned with jewels everywhere, with various gemstones interspersed. The diamond earth is most delightful, embellished with jewel rings and nets, spread with lotus blossoms in full bloom, with exquisite raiment covering all. Enlightening beings celestial crowns and jewel necklaces are spread all over the ground as decorations, sandalwood scented jewels are strewn about, all radiating pure, exquisite light. Jewel flowers flame, producing subtle light, flames of light, like clouds, illuminate all. These flowers, and myriad jewels, are strewn over the ground for adornment. Dense clouds rise and fill the 10 directions with tremendous rays of light that have no end, reaching all lands in the 10 directions expounding the Buddha's vivifying teaching. All the Buddha's vows are in the jewels revealing boundless, vast eons, what the Supreme Knower did in days gone by is all seen within these jewels. Into all the jewels of this ground come and enter all the Buddha fields, and into each atom of those Buddha fields also enter all lands. In the flower bank world, adorned with wondrous jewels, enlightening beings travel throughout the 10 directions, expounding the universal vows of the great hero. This is their power of freedom in enlightenment sites. The ground arrayed with beautiful precious stones radiates pure light replete with all adornments filling the cosmos, equal to space. Buddha's power naturally manifests like this. The flower bank world 207 Those who master the vows of universal good, those of great knowledge who enter the Buddha's realm, can know, in this ocean of lands, all such mystic transformations as these. Then universally good also said to the assembly, in the land masses of this ocean of worlds are seas of fragrant waters, as numerous as atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields. All beautiful jewels adorn the floors of those seas, gems of exquisite fragrances adorn their shores. They are meshed with luminous diamonds. Their fragrant waters shine with the colors of all jewels. Flowers of all kinds of gems swirl on their surfaces. Sandalwood powder settles on the bottom of the seas. They emanate the sounds of Buddha's speech. They radiate jewel-like light. Boundless enlightening beings, holding various canopies, manifest mystic powers causing the adornments of all worlds to appear therein. Stairways of 10 kinds of precious substances are set out in rows, with balustrades of 10 kinds of jewels surrounding them. White lotuses ornamented with jewels, as many as atoms in 4 continents, are spread over the waters, in full bloom. There are unspeakable hundreds of thousands of billions of trillions of banners of 10 precious elements, banners of belled gauze of raiments of all jewels, as many as sand grains in the Ganges river, jewel flower palaces of boundless forms, as many as sand grains in the Ganges river, 100,000 billion trillion lotus castles of 10 precious substances, forests of jewel trees as many as atoms in 4 continents, networks of flaming jewels, as many sandalwood perfumes as grains of sand in the Ganges, and jewels of blazing radiance emitting the sounds of Buddha's speech, unspeakable hundreds of thousands of billions of trillions of walls made of all jewels surround all of them, adorning everywhere. Then, to reiterate, universally good, spiritually empowered by the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said, on the land masses of these worlds arc seas of fragrant water, adorned by jewels, pure beautiful gems line the sea floors, resting on diamond, indestructible. Heaps of jewels of fragrant mines form the S-Hores, orbs of sunflame pearls arc spread like clouds, garlands of lotuses and exquisite jewels adorn everywhere, pure, without taint. The fragrant waters arc clear and contain all colors, precious flowers swirl, radiating light. 208 The flower ornament scripture sounds that cause all to quake are heard far and far, expounding the subtle truth by the Buddha's mystic powers. The arrays of stairways contain all jewels and arc studded at intervals with pearls, the surrounding balustrades are all made of jewels with nets of lotuses and pearls draped like clouds. Gemstone trees stand in rows, flower buds blossom, their luster bright, various music is always playing, Buddha's mystic power makes it so. White lotuses of various superb jewels are spread in arrays on the fragrant water seas. Rays of fragrant flames never cease, their vast auras fill everywhere. Banners of bright pearls, ever radiant, drapes of fine clothing ornamenting, nets of crystal bells intone the sound of truth, causing hearers to head for Buddha knowledge. Lotuses of jewels form castles adorned with multicolored gems, while clouds of pearls shade the 4 corners, thus adorning the seas of fragrant waters. Walls surround everything with facing towers arrayed on them. Countless lights are always shining, variously adorning the pure clear seas. Vairocana, in ancient times, beautified and purified various oceans of lands like this, vast, broad, without bounds, all is the Buddha's sovereign power. Then universally good went on to say to the great congregation, each one of the fragrant seas has as many rivers of fragrant waters as there are atoms in 4 continents, circling them to the right. All of them have diamond banks adorned with crystals of pure light, always manifesting clouds of jewel color lights of the Buddhas, as well as the speech sounds of all sentient beings. The causal practices cultivated by the Buddhas, their various forms and characteristics, all emerge from the flower bank world. 209 The swirls in the rivers. There are networks of crystals and chimes of many jewels, wherein appear the adornments of all the oceans of worlds. Clouds of jewels cover them above, those clouds show all the phantom Buddhas emanated in the 10 directions by Vairocana of the flower bank world, as well as the deeds of psychic power of all Buddhas. They also produce miraculous sounds extolling the names of the enlightened and enlightening beings of past, present, and future. From those fragrant waters constantly emerge clouds of light with the radiance of all jewels, continuing uninterrupted. If the full story be told, each river has as many adornments as atoms in an ocean of worlds. Then, to reiterate, universally good, with the psychic power he received from the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said, currents of pure fragrance fill the great rivers, beautiful diamonds form their banks. Rings of jewel dust are spread on the ground, the various ornaments are all rare and fine. Jewel stairways arrayed in rows, beautifully adorned, balustrades surrounding, all extremely fine, flower decorations, with stores of pearls, and various garlands draped all around. The fragrant waters jewel-like luster is pure, always spewing crystals in rushing currents, the flowers undulate with the ripples, all producing music intoning sublime truths. The mud is made of sandalwood powder, all splendid jewels swirl together, aromas of stores of scent spread therein, emitting flames circulating fragrance everywhere. In the rivers are produced wonderful jewels, all emitting lights of blazing color. The lights cast reflections forming terracetes complete with canopies and garlands of pearls. In the diamonds appear bodies of Buddhas, their lights illumining the 10 directions lands, circles of them decorate the river beds, always full of fragrant water, clear. Crystal nets, bells of gold, cover the rivers, broadcasting Buddha's voice. 210 The flower ornaments scripture P reaching all ways to enlightenment and the sublime practice of universal good. The crystals of the jewel banks are extremely pure, and always produce the tones of the Buddha's original vows, telling of and showing the past deeds of all Buddhas. From the whirls of those rivers enlightening beings constantly emerge, like clouds, all traveling in the vast, extensive lands, till all the universe is filled. Pure pearls are spread like clouds covering all the fragrant rivers. Those pearls are as many as the appearances from Buddha's brow, clearly showing the images of all enlightened ones. Then universally good also said to the great assembly, the land in between these rivers of fragrant waters is all variously adorned with beautiful jewels. EACH land space has as many white lotuses decorated with jewels as there are atoms in 4 continents, surrounding and filling everywhere. Each has as many forests of jewel trees as atoms in 4 continents, standing in orderly rows, with each tree constantly producing clouds of all ornaments, diamonds shining within them. The fragrances of all kinds of flowers fill everywhere. Those trees also produce subtle sounds, speaking of the great vows practiced by all the Buddhas in all ages. They also scatter various kinds of diamonds all over the ground, diamonds with lotus auras, fragrant flame-light cloud diamonds, variously embellished diamonds, diamonds reflecting the colors of inconceivably many adornments, diamonds like stores of raiment of sunlight, diamonds draping douds of webs of light throughout the 10 directions, diamonds reflecting the spiritual metamorphoses of all Buddhas, diamonds reflecting the ocean of consequences of actions of all sentient beings. There are as many of such as these as there are atoms in an ocean of worlds. The lands in between the fragrant rivers all have such adornments. Then, to reiterate, universally good, receiving spiritual power from the Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said, the land is level and thoroughly pure, garnished with gold and jewels. Trees in rows shade the land, with soaring trunks hung with branches and flowers like clouds. The flower bank world 21 The twigs and stems are adorned with gems, the glow of their flowers make auras illumining all around, their fruits, of crystal, hang like clouds, making all in the 10 directions visible. Diamonds are spread over the ground, adorning together with jewel pollen from the flowers. There are also crystal palaces, showing the reflected images of all beings. Diamonds reflecting the images of Buddhas are scattered all over the ground, their luster pervades the 10 directions, revealing Buddhas in each and every atom. Arrays of exquisite jewels are distributed well, interspersed with networks of pearl lamps. Everywhere are crystal orbs each showing the Buddha's powers. The arrays of jewels radiate light in which appear the phantom Buddhas, each one traveling everywhere and teaching with the 10 powers. White lotuses of jewels fill all the waters, their blooms all various, each shining endless light. All adornments of all ages appear in the crystal fruits, their essential nature, unborn, cannot be grasped. This is the sovereign power of Buddha. All the adornments on this ground manifest the vast body of Buddha, it neither comes nor goes, but causes all to sec by the power of Buddha's ancient vows. In each atom of this ground all Buddha children cultivate the way, all see the lands predicted for their futures, all of them pure according to their wishes. 212 The flower ornament scripture then universally good went on to declare, the adornments of the ocean of worlds of the Buddha are inconceivable. Why? Each object in this flower bank array ocean of worlds is adorned by as many pure qualities as there are atoms in an ocean of worlds. Then, to reiterate this point, universally good, imbued with spiritual power from the Buddha, surveyed the 10 directions and said, every place in this ocean of lands is embellished with myriad jewels, their flames leaping into the sky, spreading like clouds, their light penetrating, always covering all. Jake Wells spew clouds without end wherein appear images of all Buddhas, their mystic powers and metamorphoses never stop, and all enlightening beings come and gather. All the jewels broadcast Buddha's voice, the sound exquisite, inconceivable. What Vairocana did in the past is always heard and seen within these jewels. The universal illuminators with pure auras show their forms reflected in the ornaments, transforming, distributing their bodies, surrounded by congregations, they reach throughout all oceans of lands. Buddha's independent deeds of spiritual powers all pervade the lands of the 10 directions, thereby arc the oceans of lands purely adorned. All of this is seen within the jewels. The mystic displays in the 10 directions arc all like images in a mirror, they just come from the spiritual willpower exercised by the Buddha in the past. If any can practice the deeds of universal goodness and enter the enlightening being's ocean of supreme knowledge, they can, in a single atom, manifest their bodies everywhere and purify many lands. For inconceivable billions of cons having associated with all the Buddhas, the flower BM1K World 213 everything they practice can be shown in a single instant. The Buddha's lands arc like space, peerless, unborn, without any signs to aid living beings, they beautify and purify lands, dwelling therein by the power of their original vows. Then universally good went on to say, what worlds arc there herein? I'll tell you. In these seas of fragrant waters, numerous as atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields, rest an equal number of world systems. Each world system also contains an equal number of worlds. Those world systems in the ocean of worlds have various resting places, various shapes and forms, various substances and essences, various locations, various entryways, various adornments, various boundaries, various alignments, various similarities, and various powers of Tnintanunk. Some of these world systems rest on seas of gigantic lotuses, some rest on seas of jewel flowers of boundless forms, some rest on seas of ornaments of treasures from repositories of all pearls, some rest on seas of perfume, some rest on seas of all flowers, some rest on seas of crystal webs, some rest on seas of swirling light, some rest on seas of enlightening beings' jeweled crowns, some rest on seas of the bodies of all the various living beings, some rest on diamonds emanating the sounds of the voices of all Buddhas. There are as many of these, if fully expounded, as atoms in an ocean of worlds. Some of these world systems are shaped like high mountains, some like rivers, some like whirls, some like whirlpools, some like wheel rims, some like altars, some like forests, some like palaces, some like mountain banners, some like all geometric figures, some like wombs, some like lotus blossoms, some like baskets, some like bodies of sentient beings, some like clouds, some like the distinguishing features of Buddhas, some like spheres of light, some like webs of various pearls, some like all doors, some like various ornaments. Their shapes, if fully told of, number as many as atoms in an ocean of worlds. As for the substances of these world systems, some are made of clouds of jewels of all quarters, some of multicolored flames, some of light beams, some of flames of precious scents, some of cotton flowers adorned by all jewels, some of images of enlightening beings, some of auras of Buddhas, some of physical forms of Buddhas, some of the light of one precious Clement, some of the lights of many precious Clements, some of the sounds of the sea of blessings and virtues of all living beings. Some of the sounds of the sea of actions of all living beings, some of the pure sounds of the sphere of all Buddhas, some of the sounds of the sea of great vows of all enlightening beings, some of 214 the flower ornament scripture the sounds of the formation and disintegration of the adornments of all lands, some of the sounds of the methods and techniques of all Buddhas, some of the sounds of the voices of boundless Buddhas, some of the voices of goodness of all sentient beings, some of the sounds of the mystical demonstrations of all Buddhas, some of the pure sounds of the ocean of virtue of all Buddhas. If fully told, there are as many of these as atoms in an ocean of worlds. Then universally good, to reiterate what he meant, looked over the 10 directions by the power bestowed on him by the Buddha and said one end verse, the stable, marvelous adornments of the systems of worlds, vast, pure treasuries of light, rest on seas of lotus blossom jewels or on perfume seas, and so on. Shaped like mountains, cities, trees, altars, the world systems extend in all directions, their various adornments and shapes different, each set out in arrays. Pure light is the substance of some flower banks, and some clouds of fuels. Some world systems are made of flames, resting in indestructible mines of jewels. Clouds of lamps, colored lights of flames, and more, various, boundless forms, all pure. Some are composed of sound, of the inconceivable teachings of Buddha. Some are sound produced by the power of vows, some of sounds of miraculous displays, some are those of beings' virtues, are the sounds of Buddha's qualities. The individual different aspects of the world systems are inconceivable, without end. The 10 directions are filled with them, their vast adornments manifesting spiritual powers. All the immense lands of the 10 directions enter into the system of worlds, though we see all in the 10 directions enter, really there is no coming and no entry. The flower bank world 215 one world system enters all, and all completely enter one, their substances and characteristics remain as before, no different, incomparable, immeasurable, they all pervade everywhere. In the atoms of all lands are seen Buddhas existing there, the voices of their oceans of vows are like thunder, subduing all sentient beings. The Buddha's body pervades all lands, which are also filled by countless enlightening beings. The Buddha's freedom has no equal, edifying all conscious creatures. Then universally good said, these seas of fragrant waters, numerous as atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields, are in the flower bank array ocean of worlds, spread out like the net of Indra, king of the gods. The sea of fragrant water in the very center is called boundless light of beautiful flowers. Its floor is made of diamond banners reflecting the forms of all enlightening beings. It produces huge lotuses called diamond adornments of all sense. There is a system of worlds resting on it called blazing light illuming the 10 directions, composed of all ornaments. It contains as many worlds as atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields, arrayed therein. In the nadir is a world called supreme light shining everywhere, adorned by all kinds of diamonds, bounded by a circle of light, resting on flowers of many jewels, shaped like a crystal, covered with clouds of arrays of flowers of all gems, surrounded by worlds as numerous as atoms in a Buddha field, with various structures and various adornments. The Buddha of this world is called undefiled lamp of the eye of purity. Above this, past worlds as numerous as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called beautiful array of lotus flowers of various scents, bounded by all kinds of ornaments, resting on a network of jewel lotus blossoms, shaped like a lion throne, covered with nets of pearls of the colors of all jewels, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 2 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called supreme radiance of lion light. Above this, past worlds as numerous as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called all illuminating light of ornaments of all jewels, bounded by an atmosphere of perfume, resting on garlands of various gems, octagonal in shape, covered by clouds of solar discs of crystals with subtle light, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 3 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called banner of supreme knowledge like pure light. 216 tlze flower ornament scripture above this, past worlds as numerous as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called array of flowers of various lights, bounded by all the finest jewels, resting on a sea of pure banners of multicolored diamonds, shaped like a crystal lotus blossom, covered by clouds of diamond light, orbited by worlds as numerous as atoms in 4 Buddha fields, all thoroughly pure. The Buddha is called diamond light with infinite energy skillfully producing manifestations. Above this, past worlds as numerous as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called radiating light of beautiful flowers, bounded by nets adorned with bells of all jewels, resting on a sea of networks of jewel spheres adorned with forests of all trees, geometric in shape, with many angles and sides, covered by clouds of diamonds with pure resonance, surrounded by worlds as many as atoms in 5 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called ocean of joyful power of fragrant light. Above this, past worlds as numerous as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called pure subtle light, bounded by banners decorated with diamonds, resting on a sea of diamond palaces, square in shape, covered by clouds of drapes of crystal orb top knots, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 6 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called banner of sovereignty with universal light. Above this, past worlds as numerous as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called array of radiance of myriad flowers, bounded by decorations of all kinds of flowers, resting on a sea of flames of the colors of all jewels, shaped like a palace, covered by clouds of robes of the colors of all jewels and railings of pearls, surrounded by worlds as numerous as atoms in 7 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha is called ocean of joy with the light of virtue, fame, and freedom. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called producing the state of awesome power, bounded by ornaments of diamonds that produce all sounds, resting on a sea of spheres of lotus thrones of the colors of various jewels, shaped like Indra's net, covered by clouds of flower webs of boundless colors, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 8 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called renowned banner of the ocean of knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called producing wondrous sounds, bounded by spherical arrays of mind jewels, resting on a sea of diamonds in cloud-like arrays constantly producing all wonderful sounds, shaped like the body of a celestial king of the Brahma heaven, covered by clouds of lion thrones adorned with countless jewels, surrounded by as many worlds as there are atoms in 9 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called invincible radiance like pure moonlight. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called diamond banner, bounded by garlands of gems from pearl treasuries of boundless adornments, resting on a crystal sea of the flower bank world 21/7 jewel lion thrones with all adornments, spherical in shape, covered by mountainous clouds of jewel flowers of all fragrances, as numerous as atoms in 10 gigantic mountains, and surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha is called Supreme King of the ocean of all truths. Above this, past worlds as many as atoms in a Buddha field, there is a world called constantly producing sapphire light, bounded by rays of indestructible diamonds, resting on a sea of various different flowers, shaped like the half-moon, covered by clouds of drapes of celestial jewels, surrounded by worlds as many as atoms in 11 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called boundless virtues. Above this, past worlds as many as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called light shining, bounded by arrays of radiant lights, resting on a sea of perfume of flower swirls, shaped like a wreath, covered by clouds of various garments, surrounded by worlds as numerous as atoms in 12 Buddha fields. The Buddha is named transcending the gods. Above this, past worlds as many as atoms in a Buddha tlcld, we come to this world, called endurance, bounded by ornaments of diamonds, held by atmospheres of various colors, resting on a network of lotus flowers, shaped like space, covered by space adorned with spherical celestial palaces, surrounded by worlds as numerous as atoms in 13 Buddha fields. The Buddha is this Svarokana. Above this, past worlds as numerous as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called tranquil undefiled light, bounded by adornments of all jewels, resting on a sea of various kinds of precious raiment, shaped like a thunderbolt bearer, covered by clouds of diamonds of boundless colors, surrounded by worlds as numerous as atoms in 14 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called supreme sound pervading the cosmos. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called lamp of many beautiful light beams, bounded by drapes of all ornaments, resting on a sea of webs of pure flowers, shaped like a philpot, covered by clouds of seas of crystal trees and perfumed waters, surrounded by as many worlds as atomic particles in 15 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha is called universally illuminating banner of invincible strength. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called pure light shining everywhere, bounded by diamonds from inexhaustible clouds of jewels, resting on a sea of lotus flowers with various fragrant flames, shaped like a tortoise shell, covered by sandalwood clouds of radiant crystal orbs, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 16 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called eyes with the qualities of pure suns. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called mine of jewel ornaments, bounded by diamonds in the forms of all living beings, resting on a sea of diamonds fro mines of 218 the flow wer ornament scripture light, octagonal in shape, covered by webs of flower trees adorned by jewels from all the surrounding mountains, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 17 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called light of unhindered knowledge illumining the 10 directions. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called dustless, bounded by ornaments of all kinds of exquisite forms, resting on a sea of lion thrones of myriad beautiful flowers, shaped like a pearl necklace, covered by clouds of auras of diamonds with all precious fragrances, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 18 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha is called Supreme Beginner of infinite means. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called pure light illumining everywhere, bounded by diamonds producing inexhaustible clouds of fuels, resting on a sea of mountains of fragrant flames of infinite colors, shaped like a wreath of jewel flowers, covered by diamond clouds of light of boundless colors, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 19 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called light illumining all the space of the cosmos. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called beautiful jewel flames, bounded by jewels like the sun and moon illuming everywhere, resting on a sea of diamonds in the shapes of all celestial beings, shaped like jewel arrays, covered by clouds of banners of all precious robes and networks of banks of crystal lamps, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 20 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha is called shining with signs of virtue. This world system, blazing light illumining the 10 directions, has as many such vast worlds as there are atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields, each with their individual resting places, shapes, substances and natures, aspects, entrances, adornments, boundaries, arrays, similarities, and powers of maintenance, all revolving around it. That is, there are as many spiral-shaped worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields, a like number of river-shaped worlds, the same number of whirlpool-shaped worlds, the same number of wheel rim-shaped worlds, the same number of altar-shaped worlds, the same number of forest-shaped worlds, the same number of tower-shaped worlds, the same number of forest-shaped worlds, the same number of pennant-shaped worlds, the same number of womb-shaped worlds, the same number of geometrically-shaped worlds, the same number of lotus blossom-shaped worlds, the same number of basket-shaped worlds, the same number of worlds shaped like living creatures, the same number of Buddha-shaped worlds, the same number of light aura-shaped worlds, the same number of cloud-shaped worlds, the same number of net-shaped worlds, the same number of door-shaped worlds. There are as many such as atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields. Each of these worlds has as many enormous worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields surrounding it, each one also having as many worlds, the same as explained above. All of the flower bank world 219. These worlds are in this boundless light of beautiful flower sea of fragrant waters, or in the rivers of fragrant water surrounding it. Then the enlightening being universally good also said to the great assembly, east of this boundless light of beautiful flower sea of fragrant water is another sea of fragrant water called repository of undefiled flames. It produces huge lotuses called beautiful adornments of diamonds with all scents. There is a world system resting on it called vortex of lands shining everywhere. Its substance is the roaring sound of deeds of enlightening beings. At its bottom is a world called palace decoration banner, square in shape, resting on a sea of ornaments of all precious stones, covered by clouds of webs of lotus light, surrounded by worlds as many as atoms in a Buddha field, all uniformly pure. The Buddha is named brow light illumining everywhere. Above this, past worlds as many as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called repository of flowers of virtue, spherical in shape, resting on a sea of flower pistils made of all kinds of pearls, covered by clouds of lion thrones with pearl banners, orbited by as many worlds as atoms in 2 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called wisdom of the ocean of all boundless truths. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called fragrant circle of miracles, shaped like a diamond, resting on a sea of nets of chimes adorned with all kinds of jewels, covered by clouds of auras of all kinds of ornaments, orbited by as many worlds as atoms in 3 Buddha fields. The Buddha is named light of virtuous characteristics shining everywhere. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called light of sublime color, shaped like a crystal orb, resting on a perfume sea of jewels of boundless colors, covered by clouds of palaces of radiant pearls, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 4 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha is named ubiquity illumination producing good company. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called good cover, shaped like a lotus blossom, resting on a perfume sea of diamonds, covered by perfume clouds of undefiled light, orbited by as many worlds as atoms in 5 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called inexhaustible wisdom of delight in truth. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called wreath of light of pure flowers, triangular in shape, resting on arrays of all unbreakable jewels, covered by light beams from the jeweled crowns of enlightening beings, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 6 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called pure universal light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called array of jewel lotus blossoms, shaped like a half moon, resting on a sea of arrays of all kinds of lotuses, covered by clouds of 220 the flower ornament scripture flowers of all jewels, orbited by as many worlds as atoms in 7 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha is called pure eye of flowers of virtue. Above this, past worlds as many as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called repository of undefiled flames, shaped like a row of jewel lamps, resting on a sea of banks of jewel-like flames, covered by clouds of various bodies constantal raining perfume, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 8 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called invincible power of wisdom. Above this, past worlds as many as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called sublime pure sound, shaped like a fylfot, resting on a sea of jewel raiment, covered with clouds of drapes adorned with all flowers, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 9 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called enormous eyes like the clear moon in the sky. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called sounds as numerous as atoms, shaped like the net of Indra, resting on a sea of waters of all precious clements, covered by clouds of jeweled canopies of all musical sounds, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called golden mountain lamp. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called array of jewel colors, shaped like a fylfot, resting on a sea of gems shaped like the king of the gods, covered by clouds of flowers radiant as the sun, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 11 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called radiant knowledge illuminating the cosmos. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called golden light, shaped like a huge castle, resting on a sea of ornaments made of all jewels, covered by clouds of jewel flowers from scenes of enlightenment, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 12 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called banner of precious lamps lighting all. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called sphere of light illumining everywhere, shaped like a wreath of flowers, resting on a sea of whirlpools of jewel raiment, covered by clouds of palaces made of diamonds emanating the sound of Buddha's voice, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 13 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called lotus flower illumining everywhere. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called jewel mine ornaments, shaped like 4 continents, resting on a mountain of jewel necklaces, covered by clouds of blazing jewels, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 14 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called blooming flowers of inexhaustible blessings. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called appearing everywhere like reflections in a mirror, shaped like the body of a titan, resting on a sea of diamond lotuses, covered by the flower BM1K world 22-1, clouds of light rays from jeweled crowns, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 15 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called elixir sound. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called sandalwood moon, octagonal in shape, resting on a sea of indestructible precious sandalwood, covered by clouds of pearl flowers, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 16 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha is called peerless knowledge of the supreme truth. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called untainted light, shaped like a whirlpool of fragrant water, resting on a sea of fuel light of boundless colors, covered by clouds of exquisitely aromatic light, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 17 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called sound of light illumining all space. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called array of beautiful flowers, spiral-shaped, resting on a sea of all flowers, covered by crystal clouds of all musical sounds, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 18 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called everywhere manifesting supreme light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called array of supreme sounds, shaped like a lion throne, resting on a sea of golden lion thrones, covered by clouds of banks of lotuses of all colors, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 19 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called universal light of renown or boundless virtue. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called supremely high lamp, shaped like the Buddha's palm, resting on a sea of banners of perfume of precious raiment, covered by clouds of palaces made of jewels radiant as the sun, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 20 Buddha fields, uniformly pure. The Buddha is called lamp illuminating space. South of this repository of undefiled flame sea of fragrant waters is another sea of fragrant waters, called sphere of inexhaustible light, with a world system called array of banners of Buddhas, composed of the sounds of the ocean of virtues of all Buddhas. At the bottom of this world system is a world called lovely flower, shaped like a jewel disc, resting on a sea of diamonds from a mine of diamond trees, covered by clouds of jewel mines projecting reflections of forms of enlightening beings, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, all uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called joyful countenance of lotus light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called sublime sound, the Buddha there is called wonderfully high jewel lamp. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a 222 the flower omament scripture world called light of arrays of myriad jewels, the Buddha there is called banner of sounds of the cosmos. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called diamond treasury of fragrance, the Buddha there is called sound of light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called pure sound, the Buddha there is called supreme energy. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called a ray of jewel lotus blossoms, the Buddha there is called thunder of clouds of castles of truth. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called peace and bliss, the Buddha there is called renowned lamp of wisdom. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called undefiled net, the Buddha there is called ocean of Beer Tuesday with invincible light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called flowering grove banner illumining everywhere, the 13 Uddha there is called light of the lotus of great knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called innumerable adornments, the 13 Uddha there is called ban and cr of the real sphr of the universally yet. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called a ray of jewels of radiant light, the Buddha there is called great caravan leader of supreme knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Flower King, the Buddha there is called Moonlight L3ANNER. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Undefiled Treasury, the Buddha there is called Pure Awareness. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Jewel Light, the Buddha there is called Lamp of the Space of Omniscience. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Producing Jewel Necklaces, the Buddha there is called Light of the Forms of the Ocean of Virtues of the Ways of Transcendence. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Sublime Circles Covering All, the Buddha there is called Subduing All Attached Minds and Causing Joy. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Jewel Flower Banner, the Buddha there is called Great Fame of Extensive Virtues. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Infinite Adornments, the Buddha there is called Ocean of Qualities of Light of Impartial Knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a the Flower Bank World 223 world called Banner of Arrays of Infinite Lights, shaped like a lotus blossom, resting on a sea of webs of all jewels, covered by webs of lotus light crystals, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 20 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called Pure Light of the Cosmos. Turning the right of the sphere of inexhaustible light sea of fragrant water, there is a sea of fragrant water called Diamond Flame Light, with a system of worlds called Repository of Arrays of Buddha Halos, composed of voices extolling the names of all Buddhas. At the bottom of this world system is a world called Jewel Flame Lotus, shaped like a curl of hair, the color of crystal, resting on a sea of whirlpools of the colors of all jewels, covered by clouds of palaces of all adornments, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, all uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called Undefiled Jewel Light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Repository of Flames of Light, the Buddha there is called Light of Unhindered Independent Wisdom. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Beautiful Array of Jewel Discs, the Buddha there is called Light of All Jewels. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Sandalwood Tree Flower Banner, the Buddha is called Light of Pure Knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Exquisite Array of Buddha Fields, the Buddha is called Great Sound of Joy. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Array of Subtle Lights, the Buddha is called Independent Knowledge of the Cosmos. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Boundless Forms, the Buddha is called Unimpeded Knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Flame Cloud Banner, the Buddha is called Non-Regressive Teaching. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Pure Circle of Jewel Ornaments, the Buddha is called Pure Flower Light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Great Emancipation, the Buddha is called Eye of the Sun of Unhindered Knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Beautifully Adorned Diamond Throne, the Buddha is called Great Light of Knowledge of the Cosmos. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a 224 the flower ornament scripture world called Everywhere Adorned by Knowledge and Wisdom, the Buddha there is called King of the Light of the Torch of Knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Deep Wonderful Sound of a Lotus Pond, the Buddha there is called Omniscience Illumining Everywhere. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Varicolored Light Beams, the Buddha there is called Radiant Flower King Cloud. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Exquisite Jewel Banner, the Buddha there is called Light of Virtue. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called crystal flower light, the Buddha there is called cloud of universal sound. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called extremely deep ocean, the Buddha there is called leader of all beings in the 10 directions. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called high mountain light, the Buddha there is called sound of universal knowledge of the cosmos. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called golden lotus, the Buddha there is called universal light of the repository of virtue. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called mine of jewel ornaments, shaped like a philpot, resting on a sea of trees of all scents adorned by crystals, covered by clouds of pure light, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 20 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha is called web of light of great mystical displays. Turning to the right of this diamond flame light sea of fragrant water, there is another sea of fragrant water called sapphire ray, with a world system called light illuminan G the 10 directions, resting on clouds of scent of lotus blossoms of all beautiful adornments, composed of the voices of boundless Buddhas. At the bottom of this system is a world called will containing infinite colors of all quarters, shaped like a spiral with an infinite number of turns, resting on a sea of treasuries of jewels of unlimited colors, covered by the net of Indra, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, all uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called lotus yes with all illuminating light. Above this, past worlds as numerous as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called mine of pure exquisite ornaments, the Buddha there is called great lion of unexcelled wisdom. Above this, past worlds as numerous as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called producing lotus thrones, the Buddha is called king of light illumining the cosmos. The flower BMZK world 225a above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called jewel banner sound, the Buddha there is called universal repute of great virtue. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called diamond ornament treasury, the Buddha there is called lotus sunlight. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Indra flower moon, the Buddha there is called banner of independent knowledge of truth. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called treasury of beautiful globes, the Buddha there is called pure sound of great joy. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called mine of wonderful sounds, the Buddha there is called good caravan leader of great power. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called pure moon, the Buddha there is called power of knowledge with monumental light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called boundless adorning marks, the Buddha there is called pure moonlight of means and vows. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called beautiful flower sound, the Buddha there is called sound of great vows of the ocean of truth. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called array of all jewelry, the Buddha there is called supreme heaven of beautiful sound. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called indestructible ground, the Buddha there is called form of jewel light of virtue. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called universal light readily transforming, the Buddha there is called calm intellect with great energy. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called protective adornin G action, the Buddha there is called gladdening to security. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called sandalwood jewel flower treasury, the Buddha there is called all illumining light of extremely profound immutable wisdom. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called sea of various colors and forms, the Buddha there is called radiating sovereign light of inconceivable ultimate truth. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called producing great lights in all directions, the Buddha there is called incomparable majestic light of supreme virtue. 226 The flower ornament scripture above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called mountain cloud banner, the Buddha there is called yes of ultimately pure light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called radiant lotus, round in shape, resting on a sea of crystals of boundless colors and many wonderful fragrances, covered by clouds of ornaments of all vehicles, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 20 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called energetic sun of liberation. Turning to the right of the sapphire array sea of fragrant water there is another sea of fragrant water, called diamond orb adorned floor, with a world system called Indra's net studded with wonderful jewels, composed of sounds produced by the knowledge of universal virtue. At the bottom of this world system is a world called lotus blossom net, shaped like the polar mountain, resting on a sea of banners of mountains of beautiful flowers, covered by clouds of Indra's nets of diamonds from the sphere of Buddhahood, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, all uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called wisdom universally aware of the body of reality. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called endless sunlight, the Buddha there is called mind of supremely great awareness. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called radiating subtle light in all directions, the Buddha there is called endless power of clouds of great virtue. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called tree blossom banner, the Buddha there is called sound of the cosmos of boundless knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called pearl canopy, the Buddha there is called transcendental lion stretch. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called boundless sound, the Buddha there is called omniscient awareness. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called forested peak visible everywhere, the Buddha there is called appearing before all beings. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called invincible light of Indra's net, the Buddha is called clouds of flames of golden light from a spotless Sunday. Above this, past worlds as many as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called jewel studded, the Buddha there is called supreme wisdom. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called ground of undefiled light, the Buddha there is called pure moon with all powers. The flower BMZK world 22:7 Above this, past worlds as many as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called constantly emitting sounds praising Buddha's virtues, the Buddha there is called space-like mind of universal awareness. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called high bank of flames, the Buddha there is called great cloud B'anas majestically appearing in all quarters. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called sanctuary adorned with light, the Buddha there is called incomparable knowledge illumining everywhere. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called producing ornaments of all jewels, the Buddha there is called king of mystic powers widely liberating sentient beings. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called beautiful palace adorned with light, the Buddha there is called vast intellect establishing all truths. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called undefiled tranquility, the Buddha there is called not appearing in vain. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called banner of crystal flowers, the Buddha there is called auspicious sound delighting the mind. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called repository of universal clouds, shaped like a palace, resting on a perfume sea of various palaces, covered by clouds of lamps of all jewels, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 20 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called king of mystic powers of supreme awareness. Turning to the right of this diamond orb adorned floor sea of fragrant water is another sea of fragrant water, called lotus blossom Indra net, with a world system called everywhere showing reflections of the 10 directions, resting on a lotus blossom adorned with jewels, with all kinds of scents, composed of the sounds of the light of knowledge of all Buddhas. At the bottom of this world system is a world called Jewel light of the ocean of living beings, shaped like a treasury of pearls, resting on a sea of garlands of all jewels, covered with clouds of crystals of the luster of water, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called all-illumining moon of inconceivable virtue. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha tl. Is a world called wreath of wonderful fragrance, the Buddha there is called banner of intl. Night power. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha tl.cld, is a world called sphere of subtle light, the Buddha there is called enlightening wisdom with the sound of the light of the cosmos. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha tl.ld, is a 228 tlze flower ornament script to re-world called roaring crystal banner, the Buddha there is called lotus light with beautiful arms always hanging down. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called sphere of extreme stability, the Buddha there is called light of the sea of non-regressive virtue. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called array of light beams, the Buddha is called omniscient all-conqueror. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called lion throne illumining everywhere, the Buddha is called infinitely powerful enlightened wisdom with inconceivable light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called a ray of jewel flames, the Buddha is called pure knowledge of all things. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called immeasurable lamp, the Buddha is called no sign of distress. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called hearing Buddha's voice, the Buddha is called supremely magnificent natural light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called pure metamorphoses, the Buddha is called golden lotus light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called entering all quarters, the Buddha is called expanding mind observing the cosmos. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called blazing flames, the Buddha is called light flame tree Kinara king. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called all-illumining aromatic light, the Buddha is called skillfully teaching fragrant lamp. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called wreath of innumerable flowers, the Buddha is called everywhere manifesting Buddha's virtues. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called universal purity of all subtleties, the Buddha is called king of psychic powers equanimous toward all things. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called sea of golden light, the Buddha is called freely manifesting any form in any place. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called pearl flower treasury, the Buddha there is called inconceivable wisdom with cosmic jewel light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a the flower bank world 229 world called lofty lion throne of the gods, the Buddha is called light of supreme power. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called boundless jewel illumining everywhere, square in shape, resting on a sea of flowered forests, covered by an imperial net raining diamonds everywhere, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 20 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called supreme sound illumining the whole world. Turning to the right of this lotus blossom Indra net sea of fragrant water is another sea of fragrant water, called treasury of accumulated precious incense, with a world system called array of all virtues, composed of the sounds of the teachings of all Buddhas. At the bottom of the system is a world called various products, shaped like a thunderbolt, resting on various diamond mountain banners, covered by clouds of diamond light, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, uniformly pure. the Buddha there is named Lotus Blossom Eyes. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Gladdening Sound, its Buddha is producer of joy and bliss. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Jewel Ornament Banner, its Buddha is omniscience. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Radiant Cotton Flowers, its Buddha is subtle sound of pure calm. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Light of Transformation and Production, its Buddha is moon of knowledge in pure space. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Exquisite Arrays, its Buddha is showing the forms of dense clouds of the sea of virtues. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Subtle Sound of All Ornaments, its Buddha is clouds of joy. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Lotus Pond, its Buddha is banner of renown. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Array of All Jewels, its Buddha is expanding observant eye. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Pure Flower, its Buddha is called Inexhaustible Eye and Indestructibly Knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field is a world called Lotus Adorned City, its Buddha is Universal Light of Eyes like a mine of suns. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a 230 the flower ornament scripture world called Mountain Peak with innumerable trees, its Buddha is thunder of all truth s. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Sunlight, its Buddha is demonstrating infinite knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Resting on Lotus Leaves, its Buddha is Mountain of All Virtues. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Universally Supporting Atmosphere, its Buddha is Senses Shining like the Sun Day. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Evident Light, its Buddha is Body Glow Illumining Everywhe. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called All Illuminating Diamond Reverberating with Fragrant Thunder, its Buddha is Form of Supreme Flowers Blooming. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Imperial Net Adornment, shaped like a balustrade, resting on a sea of all ornaments, covered by douds of palaces of flames of light, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 20 Buddha fields, uniformly pure. The Buddha there is named Manifesting Clouds of Fearlessness. Turning to the right of this treasury of accumulated precious incense sea of fragrant water is another sea of fragrant water, called Jewel Array, with a world system called Everywhere Undefiled, composed of sounds of spiritual metamorphoses of Buddha fields within all atoms. At the bottom of this system is a world called Pure Refinement, flat in shape, like a jewel, resting on a sea of light spheres of all jewels, covered by clouds of various sandalwood crystals and pearls, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called Peerless Banner of Invincibility. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Bright Beautiful Adornments, its Buddha is Lotus Mind King of Mystical Powers. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Banner of Rings of Subtle Forms, its Buddha is Endless Light of Universal Renown. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Marvelous Arrays of Crystals from Mines of Flames, its Buddha is Great Wisdom and Knowledge delightful to all who seconds or hear. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Array of Exquisite Flowers, its Buddha is Supreme Knowledge of Infinite Power. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is the Flower Bank World 23 one world called Producing Pure Particles, its Buddha is Transcending the Gods. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Scent of Metamorphic Productions of Universal Light, its Buddha is scented elephant of unbreakable power. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called vortex of light, its Buddha is good reputation of proven logic. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called sea of jewel necklaces, its Buddha is incomparable light shining everywhere. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called banner of lamps of beautiful flowers, its Buddha is lamp of unhindered wisdom with ultimate virtues. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called array of skillful techniques, its Buddha is transcendence of the Son of Wisdom. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called radiant light of sandalwood flowers, its Buddha is sound of the cosmos of boundless wisdom. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called imperial net banner, its Buddha is lamplight shining far above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called pure flower wreath, its Buddha is light of the cosmic Sunday above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called great awesome radiance, its Buddha is sound of the cycles of teaching of boundless virtue. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Jewel Lotus Pond abode of common peace, its Buddha is showing knowledge entering into the inconceivable. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called level ground, its Buddha is king of light of juggles of virtue. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called mass of aromatic crystals, its Buddha is exquisite adornments of the sea of inexhaustible virtue. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called subtle light, its Buddha is pervasive sound of incomparably power. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called radiance of adornments solid and stable everywhere, octagonal in shape, resting on a sea of mind-king crystal globes, COV aired by clouds of drapes adorned by all precious stones, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 20 Buddha fields, uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called Great Luminous Lamp of the Universal Eye. 232 The flower Omamatan scripture turning to the right of this jewel array sea of fragrant water, there is another sea of fragrant water, called Mass of Diamonds, with a world system called Cosmic Action, composed of the enunciation of the principles of the methods pertaining to all of the stages of development of enlightening beings. At the bottom of this system is a world called Radiance of Pure Light, shaped like a string of pearls, resting on a sea of necklaces of pearls of all colors, covered by clouds of crystals of light from the pearl top knots of enlightening beings, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called Light of Supreme Virtue. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Wonderful Canopy, its Buddha is mind-free in all things. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Jewel-adorned Lion Throne, its Buddha is called Great Dragon Abyss. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Producing Diamond Thrones, its Buddha is called Ascending the Lotus Platform of a Lion Throne. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Supreme Lotus Sound, its Buddha is all-enlightening light of knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Good Customs, its Buddha is king of sublime light holding the earth. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Sound of Happiness, its Buddha is king of the lamp of truth. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Jewel Treasury Indra's net, its Buddha is not seen in vain. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Myriad Wonderful Minds, its Buddha is Flame Body Banner. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Will of Golden Light, its Buddha is purifying the acts of living beings. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called Adornments of the Polar Mountains, its Buddha is clouds of all virtues shining everywhere. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called shapes of myriad trees, its Buddha is awareness like a pure moon like a jewel flower. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called no fear, its Buddha is torch of supreme golden light. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is the flower bank world 233 world called Dragon King banner of great renown, its Buddha is seeing all things as equal. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called displaying crystal colors, its Buddha is son of metamorphic production. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called array of light flame lamps, its Buddha is jewel canopy light illumining all. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called fragrant light cloud, its Buddha is contemplative wisdom. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called no enmity, its Buddha is ocean of energetic supreme intellect. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called honor of lights of all adornments, its Buddha is sovereign king able to produce delightful lotuses anywhere. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called hair curl adornments, shaped like a half moon, resting on a sea of crystal flowers from the polar mountain, covered by clouds of radiant diamonds of all kinds of ornaments, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 20 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. Its Buddha is called pure I. Turning to the right of this diamond mass sea of fragrant water, there is another sea of fragrant water, called Jewel ramparts of celestial cities, with a world system called lamp flame light, composed of the sounds of all impartial teachings. At the bottom of this system is a world called ring of jewel moonlight flowers, shaped like all kinds of ornaments, resting on a sea of flowers embellished with all kinds of jewels, covered by clouds of lion thrones the color of lapis lazuli, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field. The Buddha there is called free light of sun and moon. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called polar mountain jewel light, its Buddha is banner of inexhaustible jewels of truth. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called myriad beautiful light beams, its Buddha is great mass of flowers. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called crystal light flower, its Buddha is most independent of humans. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called universal sound, its Buddha is omniscience illumining everywhere. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called great tree Kinara's sound, its Buddha is independent dragon with infinite virtues. 234 The flower ornament scripture above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called boundless pure light, its Buddha is light of jewel flow of virtue. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called supreme sound, its Buddha is a ray of all knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called decorated with many jewels, its Buddha is jewel flame polar mountain. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called pure wonderfully high sound, its Buddha is manifesting the light of all practices. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called perfume canopy, its Buddha is unobstructed ocean of all transcendent ways. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called lion flower net, its Buddha is jewel flame banner. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called lamp of beautiful diamond flowers, its Buddha is light of all great vows. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called stage of illumination of all things, its Buddha is vast true meaning of all things. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called level ornaments of pearl dust, its Buddha is net of light of supreme wisdom. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called lapis lazuli flowers, its Buddha is called Jewel cluster B Anur. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called sphere of immeasurable subtle lights, its Buddha is oceanic treasury of great powerful knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called clearly seeing the 10 directions, its Buddha is B Anur of pure cultivation of all virtues. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, is a world called pleasing pure sound, shaped like Buddha's hand, resting on a sea of networks of jewel lights, covered by clouds of all adornments of enlightening beings' bodies, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 20 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha there ui called unimpeded light illumining the entire cosmos. The enlightening being universally good also said to the great congregation, east of the repository of undefiled flame sea of fragrant water is another sea of fragrant water, called subtle bod of mystic emanation. In this sea is a system of worlds called well-arrayed different quarters. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called adamantiniya banner, with a world system called bridges the flower bank world 235 adorning the universe. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called beautiful arrays of various lotuses, with a world system called constantly producing emanations in the 10 directions. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called gapless diamond wheel, with a world system called dense clouds of jewel lotus stems. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called flames of wonderful fragrance adorning everywhere, with a world system called Vairocana's acts of metamorphosis and emanation. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called gold banner of jewel dust, with a world system called realm of the Buddha's protection. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called blazing lights of all colors, with a world system called supreme light shining everywhere. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called realm of all embellishments, with a world system called jewel flame lamp. There are as many such seas of fragrant waters as atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields. The sea of fragrant water closest to the perimeter mountains is called crystal ground, with a world system called always radiating light, composed of the sounds of the pure khans of the ocean of worlds. At the bottom of this world system is a world called banner of pleasing pure light, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called energetic wisdom with supreme concentration. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields, level with the world diamond banner, the world on the 10th level of the world system of the sea of fragrant water in the center, is a world called B Anur of arrays of fragrances, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields, uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called unobstructed lamp of the cosmos. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 3 Buddha fields, parallel to the world endurance, is a world called radiant treasury of light, its Buddha is unimpeded light of wisdom pervading the cosmos. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 7 Buddha fields, at the top of this world system, is a world called supreme body fragrance, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 20 Buddha fields, uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called flowers of the branches of enlightenment. Beyond the sea of fragrant water called sphere of inexhaustible light is another sea of fragrant water, called full of subtle light, with a world system called everywhere undefiled. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called canopy of radiance, with a world system called boundless adornments. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called array of exquisite jewels, with a world system called parametric form of aromatic crystals. Next there is a sea of fragrant water called producing the sounds of Buddha's voice, with a world system called well-structured array. Next is a sea of fragrant water called polar mountain treasury of banners of fragrance, with a world system called light filling everywhere. Next is a sea of fragrant water called 236 the flower ornament scripture subtle light of sandalwood, with a world system called wreath of flower radiance. Next is a sea of fragrant water called atmospheric power sustaining, with a world system called banner of clouds of aromatic flames. Next is a sea of fragrant water called adornments of the body of the King of Gods, with a world system called Pearl Treasury. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Level and Pure, with a world system called various adornments of lapis lazuli dust. There are as many such seas of fragrant water as atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields. The one closest to the surrounding mountains is called Beautiful Tree Blossoms, having a world system called Protocking Vast Lands, composed of the sounds of all Buddhas vanquishing demons. At the bottom of this system is a world called Flaming Torch Banner, its Buddha is called Ocean of Worldly Virtues. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields, parallel to the world Diamond Banner, is a world called Producing Jewels, its Buddha is Jewel Clouds of Invincible Power. Above this, parallel to the world Endurance, is a world called Raiment Banner, its Buddha is King of the Ocean of Omniscience. At the top of this world system is a world called Jewel Necklace Lion Light, its Buddha is called Lotus Banner of Skillful Transformation and Emanation. Beyond the sea of fragrant water called Diamond Flame Light is another sea of fragrant water, called Banner brightly decorated with all adornments, with a world system called Adorned by Pure Actions. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called Sea of Radiance of Flowers of All Jewels, with a world system called Adorned by Virtuous Characteristics. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Lotus Blooming, with a world system called Crown Jewels of Enlightening Beings. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Raiment of Exquisite Jewels, with a world system called Pure Pearl Orbs. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Lovely Flowers Illumining Everywhere, with a world system called Radiance of Clouds of 100 Lights. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Great Light Pervading Space, with a world system called Jewel Light Shining Everywhere. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Banner Adorned with Beautiful Flowers, with a world system called Gold Moon Necklace. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Fragrant Ocean Treasury of Pearls, with a world system called Buddha Halo. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Jewel Disk Light, with a world system called Light easily displaying the realm of Buddhahood. There are as many such seas of fragrant waters as atoms in an unspeakable number of Buddha fields. The one nearest to the surrounding mountains is Ca1 LCD boundless discs adorning the floor. It has a world system called Distinctions of Innumerable Regions, composed of the sounds of the languages of all countries. At the bottom of the system is a world called Diamond Flower Canopy, the Buddha there is called Universal Sound of Light of Inexhaustible Features. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields, is a world, parallel the Flower Bank World 23-7 to the World Diamond Banner, called Banner Producing Precious Raiment, its Buddha is called Great Power of Clouds of Virtue. Above this, parallel to the World Endurance, is a world called Beautiful Array of Implements of Myriad Jewels, its Buddha is Ocean of Supreme Wisdom. At the top of this world system is a world called Banner of Raiment of Sunlight, its Buddha is Lotus Cloud of the Sun of Knowledge. Beyond the sapphire array sea of fragrant water is another sea of fragrant water, called Titan Palace, with a world system called Supported by Scented Light. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called Jewel Lion Array, with a world system called Revealing All the Jewels in All Regions. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Palace Color Light Clouds, with a world system called Beautiful Array of Jewel Globes. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Producing Gigantic Lotuses, with a world system called Beautiful Ornaments Lighting Up the Universe. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Wonderful Eye of Lamp Flames, with a world system called Overseeing All Transformations in the 10 Directions. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Sphere of Inconceivable Adornments, with a world system called Universal Renown of the Light of the 10 Directions. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Jewel Heap Adornment, with a world system called Lamplight Radiance. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Pure Jewel Light, with a world system called Unobstructed Wind. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Balustrade Draped with Precious Raiment, with a world system called Light of Buddha's Body. There are as many such seas as atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields. Closest to the surrounding mountains is a sea of fragrant water called Banner decorated with trees, with a world system called resting peacefully in the imperial net, composed of the sounds of the stages of knowledge of all enlightening beings. At the bottom of the system is a world called golden, its Buddha is called supremely majestic light of aromatic flames. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields, parallel to the world diamond banner, is a world called crystal tree flowers, its Buddha is called unhindered appearance anywhere. Above this, parallel to the world endurance, is a world called beautiful adornments of lapis lazuli, its Buddha is called stable intellect mastering all principles. At the top of this world system is a world called sublime array of pure sounds, the Buddha is called king of light of lotuses blooming. Beyond the sea of fragrant water diamond orb adorned floor is another sea of fragrant water, called realm of magical production of lotus blossoms, with a world system called equality and justice in the land. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called crystal light, with a world system called no confusion throughout the universe. Next is a sea of fragrant water called sun crystal of many wonderful scents, with a world system called appearing in all quarters. Next is a sea of fragrant water called eternally admitting jewel rivers, with a world 238 the flower ornament scripture system called sounds of Buddha's speech carried out everywhere. Next is a sea of fragrant water called boundless deep wondrous sound, with a world system called boundless distinctions in location. Next is a sea of fragrant water called solid mass, with a world system called distinctions in innumerable places. Next is a sea of fragrant water called pure sound, with a world system called everywhere pure adornments. Next is a sea of fragrant water called sandalwood balustrade treasury of sound, with a world system called egregious banner. Next is a sea of fragrant water called adornment of light of diamonds of wonderful fragrance, with a world system called power of light appearing everywhere. Beyond the lotus blossom Indra net sea of fragrant water is another sea of fragrant water, called beautiful ornaments of silver lotus flowers, with a world system called universal action. Next is a sea of fragrant water called cloud of intense radiance of lapis lazuli bamboo, with a world system called everywhere producing the sounds of all quarters. Next is a sea of fragrant water called mass of light flames of the 10 directions, with a world system called always producing metamorphic displays distributed throughout the 10 directions. Next is a sea of fragrant water called gold producing crystal banner, with a world system called form of diamond banners. Next is a sea of fragrant water called great equal adornments, with a world system called circle of bravery. Next is a sea of fragrant water called endless light of jewel flower groves, with a world system called boundless pure light. Next is a sea of fragrant water called gold banner, with a world system called expounding mysteries. Next is a sea of fragrant water called light beams shining everywhere, with a world system called everywhere adorned. Next is a sea of fragrant water called tranquil sound, with a world system called appearing hanging down. There are as many such seas as atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields. The one closest to the surrounding mountains is called intense flame cloud banner, its world system, called a ray of all lights, is composed of the sounds of the beings assembled at the enlightenment sites of all Buddhas. At the bottom of the system is a world called pure eye adornment, its Buddha is called diamond moon illumining the 10 directions. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields, parallel to the world diamond banner, is a world called qualities of lotus blossoms, with a Buddha called greatly energetic well-aware mind. Above this, parallel to the world endurance, is a world called dense arrays of diamonds, with a Buddha called Shalakaying banner. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 7 Buddha fields, is a world called pure ocean adornments, with a Buddha called incomparable virtue which none can conquer. Beyond the sea of fragrant water treasury of accumulated precious incense is another sea of fragrant water, called light of all jewels the flower BAT1K world 239 shining everywhere, with a world system called adornment of undefiled reputation. Next is a sea of fragrant water called flowers of many jewels blooming, with a world system called form of space. Next is a sea of fragrant water called tent of glory shining everywhere, with a world system called everywhere adorned with unimpeded light. Next is a sea of fragrant water called sandalwood tree blossoms, with a world system called whirl appearing everywhere. Next is a sea of fragrant water called producing jewels of exquisite colors, with a world system called supreme banner traveling everywhere. Next is a sea of fragrant water called everywhere producing diamond flowers, with a world system called displaying inconceivable adornments. Next is a sea of fragrant water called mind king crystal will ornaments, with a world system called manifesting the unobstructed light of Buddha. Next is a sea of fragrant water called necklace of masses of jewels, with a world system called clearing away doubt. Next is a sea of fragrant water called everywhere adorned with rings of pearls, with a world system called flowing from the vows of the Buddhas. There are as many such seas as atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields. The one closest to the surrounding mountains is called Circle of Jewel Mines, with a world system, called Universal Sound Banner, composed of the sounds of enunciation of ways of entry into omniscience. At the bottom of this world system is a world called Flower Pistil Flames, with a Buddha called Energetic Generosity. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields, parallel to the world Diamond Banner, is a world called Lotus Light Banner, with a Buddha called Supreme Mind King with all virtues. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 3 Buddha fields, parallel to the world Endurance, is a world called 10 Directions adorned, with a Buddha called King skillfully manifesting innumerable virtuous qualities. At the top of this world system is a world called Crystal Fragrance Mountain Banner, with a Buddha called Vast Benevolent Eyes removing doubt. Beyond the sea of fragrant water Jewel Array is a sea of fragrant water called Treasury of Light supporting the polar mountain, with a world system called Producing Immense Clouds. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called Variously Adorned Realm of Great Power, with a world system called Adornments of Unobstructed Purity. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Thickly Spread Jewel Lotus Blossoms, with a world system called Supreme Lamp Array. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Resting on Adornments of All Jewels, with a world system called Treasury of Sunlight Webs. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Manifold Beatification, with a world system called Resting Place of Jewel Flowers. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Exercise of Extremely Brilliant Intellect, with a world system called Array of Superlative Forms. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Mountain Peak holding beautiful precious stones, with a world system called Universally Pure Treasury of Space. Next is a sea of fragrant 240 the flower ornament scripture water called Great Light illumining everywhere, with a world system called Sapphire Torchlight. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Filled with Delightful Jewels illuminating everywhere, with a world system called Ubiquitous Roar. There are as many such seas as atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields. The one closest to the surrounding mountains is called Producing Sapphires, with a world system called Everywhere Undifferentiated composed of the booming voices of all enlightening beings. At the bottom of the system is a world called Exquisite Treasury, with a Buddha called Supremely Virtuous Mind. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields, parallel to the world Diamond Banner, is a world called Embellishments, with a Buddha called Great Transcendental Light. Above this, parallel to the world Endurance, is a world called Everywhere adorned with lapis lazuli globes, with a Buddha called Polar Mountain Lamp. At the top of this world system is a world called Flower Banner Sea, with a Buddha called Cloud of Sublime Wisdom capable of endless transmutations and productions. Beyond the sea of fragrant water mass of diamonds is another sea of fragrant water, called Reverently Adorned Jewel Parapets, with a world system called Outstanding Jewel Banner. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called Array of Jewel Banners, with a world system called Manifesting All Lights. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Cloud of Sublime Jewels, with a world system called Universally Shining Light. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Adorned with Jewel Tree Blossoms, with a world system called Decorated with Beautiful Flowers. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Array of Raiment of Wonderful Jewels, with a world system called Ocean of Light. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Jewel Tree Peak, with a world system called Jewel Flame Cloud. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Displaying Light, with a world system called Entering Diamond with no resistance. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Lotuses Adorning Everywhere, with a world system called Oceanic Abyss with boundless shores. Next is a sea of fragrant water called A Ray of Beautiful Jewels, with a world system called Treasury displaying all lands. Such seas are as numerous as atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields. The one nearest to the surrounding mountains is called Indestructibly Sea, with a world system called Lotus Blossom Setting decorated with beautiful discs composed of the sounds produced by all the powers of Buddhas. At the bottom of the system is a world called Most Sublime Fragrance, with a Buddha called Producing Innumerable Light Beams. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields, parallel to the world Diamond B Anur, is a world called Ornamental Gates of inconceivably many distinctions, with a Buddha called Immeasurable Knowledge. Above this, parallel to the world Endurance, is a world called Beautiful Flower Treasury of the Light of the 10 Directions, with a Buddha called Lion Eye Light Flame Cloud. At the Flower Bank World 241 top of this world system is a world called Ocean Sound, with a Buddha called Gate of Light Flames of the Heaven of Waters. Beyond the sea of fragrant water jewel ramparts of celestial cities is another sea of fragrant water, called Brilliant Light of AW Heel of Flames, with a world system called Unspeakably Many Adornments of all kinds. Next to that is a sea of fragrant water called Jewel Dust Road, with a world system called Everywhere Entering Infinite Spirals. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Containing All Ornaments, with a world system called Jewel Light Shining Everywhere. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Spreading Jewel Nets, with a world system called Arrayed Deep and Thick. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Beautiful Jewel Array B Anurs, with a world system called Sound of Clear Understanding of the Ocean of Worlds. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Pure Reflection of the Palace of the Sun, with a world system called Entering Everywhere in Indra's Net. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Beautiful Sound of Music of All Drums, with a world system called Round and Full, Level and Straight. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Various Beautiful Adornments, with a world system called Cloud of Flames of Pure Intense Light. Next is a sea of fragrant water called Lamp with all-pervasive jewel flames, with a world system called Various Forms according to the original vows of the Buddha. Such seas of fragrant waters are as numerous as atoms in unspeakably many Buddha fields. The one nearest to the surrounding mountains is called Raiment of Assembled Ornaments. Its world system, called Magically Produced Beautiful Raiment, is composed of the sound of the voices of all the Buddhas of past, present, and future. At the bottom of the system is a sea of fragrant water called Indra Flower Treasury, with a world called Producing Joy, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in a Buddha field, all uniformly pure. The Buddha is called Stable Enlightened Knowledge. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields, parallel to the world Diamond B Anur, is a world called Adorned with Jewel Nets, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 10 Buddha fields, all uniformly pure. The Buddha is called Light of Infinite Joy. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 3 Buddha fields, parallel to the world Endurance, is a world called Jewel Lotus Lion Throne, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 13 Buddha fields. The Buddha is called Most Pure Unwasteful Learning. Above this, past as many worlds as atoms in 7 Buddha fields, at the top of this world system is a world called Jaquil Lotus Dragon Light, surrounded by as many worlds as atoms in 20 Buddha fields, uniformly pure. The Buddha there is called All-Illumining Light pervading the cosmos. In these seas of fragrant water, as many as atomic particles in 10 unspeakably large numbers of Buddha fields, are an equal number of world systems, all resting on lotus blossoms adorned with diamond 242. The flower ornament scripture banners the forms of all enlightening beings, each with unbroken boundaries of ornaments, each radiating lights of jewel colors, each covered by clouds of lights, each with their particular adornments, particular time period differences, particular Buddhas. Appearing, particular oceans of teachings being expounded, particular beings filling their particular entries in the 10 directions, particular supports by the spiritual powers of all Buddhas. All of the worlds in each of these systems rest on various adornments, connecting with each other, forming a network of worlds, set up, with various differences, throughout the flower bank array ocean of worlds. Then, to recapitulate, the enlightening being universally good, receiving power from the Buddha, said in verse, the flower bank ocean of worlds is equal to the universe. Its adornments are extremely pure, resting peacefully in space. In this ocean of worlds are inconceivably many world systems, each one independent, they are not all mixed up. In the flower bank world ocean the world systems are well arrayed with different shapes and adornments varying in appearance. The sounds of Buddha's displays are the substance of various systems, seeing according to the power of acts, the world systems are finely adorned. Polar mountain city networks, see circular shapes of whirlpools, immense lotus flowers blooming, they circle one another. Mountain banner palace shapes, whirling diamond shapes, like this are the inconceivable vast systems of worlds. Flames of pearls from the ocean, inconceivable nets of light, the flower batsk world 243 the world systems like this all rest on lotus blossoms. The webs of light of each system cannot be fully described, in the lights appear all the lands throughout the seas in 10 directions. Into the ornaments adorning all the systems of worlds enter all the lands, making all visible everywhere. The world systems are inconceivable, the worlds are boundless, their various fine embellishments derive from the great sage's power. In each of the systems of worlds the worlds are inconceivably many, some forming, some decaying, some have already crumbled away. Like leaves in a forest, some growing, and some falling, so too in these systems thus do worlds form and decay. Like according to the forest the various fruits are different, in these world systems too do various beings live. Just as when seeds are different so are the fruits they produce, because of differences in the force of acts living beings' lands are not the same. Just as the mind king jewel appears in different colors to different minds, hen beings' minds are pure they can sec pure lands. Like great dragon kings creating clouds filling the sky, so does the power of Buddha's vows produce the various lands. 244 The flower ornaments scripture just as the magician's arts can make various things appear, due to the force of beings' acts the number of realms is inconceivable. Just like pictures drawn by an artist, so are all worlds made by the painter mind. Beings' bodies' differences arise from the mind's discriminations, thus are the lands varied all depending on acts. Just as the guide is seen in various different forms, so do beings see the lands according to their mental patterns. The borders of all the worlds are draped with lotus nets, their various features different, their adornments are all pure. In those lotus nets rest networks of lands with various adornments, inhabited by various beings. Some lands are dangerous and uneven, because of beings' afflictions they see them in this way. Innumerable kinds of worlds, defiled as well as pure, develop according to beings' minds, maintained by enlightening beings' power. In some lands is purity as well as defilement, this arises from the force of deeds under the influence of enlightening beings. Some lands are made of pure jewels radiating light, the flower bank world 245 with various fine adornments purified by the Buddhas. In each system of lands are conic fires, inconceivable, while it appears disastrous, the places always remain secure. By the force of beings' acts are many lands produced, supported by wind atmospheres, or resting on water spheres. The phenomena of the worlds are thus variously seen, yet they really have no origination and also no disintegration. In each moment of mind are infinite lands produced, by the Buddha's spiritual power all are seen as pure. Some lands are made of dirt, their substance very hard, dark, with no light shining, they're inhabited by evildoers. Some lands are made of thunderbolts, mixed up and terrifying, with much misery and little happiness, the abodes of those of scant virtue. Some are made of iron, some of ruddy copper, with stone mountains, steep and fearsome, full of animals. Among the lands are hells. Here beings cannot be saved from pain, always in the dark, burnt by seas of flame. Some, again, have animals of various wretched forms, because of their own evil deeds they always suffer affliction. 246 The flower ornament scripture. Some sec a netherworld, oppressed by hunger and thirst, climbing great mountains of fire, they suffer extreme pain. There are also some lands composed of precious clements, with various kinds of mansions, these are realized by pure deeds. You should observe these worlds, the humans and celestials therein, developed by results of pure deeds, they feel happiness all the time. In each and every poor ark unthinkable billions of lands, adorned in various ways, with never any cramp. By the individual acts of beings these worlds are infinite in kind, therein are born attachments and differences of misery and happiness. Some lands are made of jade-quells always radiating boundless light, diamond lotus flowers adorn them, totally pure. Some lands are made of light resting too on spheres of light, golden, with sandalwood scent, flaming clouds illumining all. Some lands are made of lunar discs, draped with fragrant robes, in a lotus blossom, filled with enlightening beings. Some lands are made of many jewels, their colors without impurities, like the imperial net of Indra, always shining with light. The flower bank world 24/7. Some lands arcade made of fragrance, some arc diamond flowers, their forms of crystal light are most pure when looked into. There are also inconceivably many lands made of flower wreaths, filled with phantom Buddhas and radiance of enlightening beings. There are some pure lands all of flowering trees, beautiful boughs spread over sanctuaries, shaded by crystal clouds. Some lands are made of diamond flowers with pure light, some are sounds of Buddha's teaching, forming boundless networks of arrays. Some lands are like the jeweled crowns of enlightening beings, some are shaped like thrones issuing from magical light. Some are sandalwood powder, some like emanated light, some the sounds in Buddha's aura formed into a wondrous land. Some sec pure lands adorned with a single light, some see many ornaments, all variously superb. Some have for adornments the marvelous things of 10 lands, some are adorned with everything in 1,000 lands. Sometimes one land is embellished with the things of 1,000,000,000 lands, their various features unalike, all appearing as reflected images. The things of unspeakably many lands adorn a single land. 248 The flower ornament scripture each radiating light, produced by the Buddha's vows. There are some lands purified by the power of vows, in each of their adornments are seen all oceans of worlds. The pure lands realized by those who practice the vows of universal good manifest within themselves the adornments of past, present, and future lands. You should observe, 0 Children of Buddha, the spiritual power in the systems of worlds, the worlds of the future, all they'll show you, like in a dream. The worlds of the 10 directions, the oceans of lands of the past, all within a single land show their forms, like phantoms. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, as well as their lands, can all be observed in a single world system. The spiritual power of all Buddhas shows many lands in an atom, of various kinds, all clearly seen, like reflections, they have no true reality. There are many lands whose forms are like oceans, and lands like polar mountains are inconceivable in number. Some lands are well disposed, formed like Indra's net, some are shaped like forests, with Buddhas filling them. Some are shaped like jewel discs, some like lotus blossoms, the flower bank world 249 or octagonal, with all decorations, they're various, and all pure. Some are shaped like seats, some again are triangular, some are like pure jewels, castle walls, or celestial bodies. Some are like God's top knots, some like the half moon, some are like crystal mountains, some like the solar orb. The shape of some of the worlds is like whirlpools in a fragrant sea, some are spheres of light, purified by Buddha's past. Some are shaped like wheel rims, some are altar-shaped, some are like Buddha's hair curl, his flesh top knot, or large long eyes. Some are like Buddha's hand, some like thunderbolts, some are like mountains of flames, enlightening beings fill them all. Some arc-shaped like lions, some like seashells, of infinite colors and forms, their substances arc each distinct. In one system of worlds arc endless forms of lands, all depend on Buddha's vow power for protection and stability. Some lands last in Khan, some exist for 10 Khans, or for more Khans than atoms in 100,000 lands. In a single Khan lands arc seen to dissolve, 250 the flower ornament scripture measureless or countless, or inconceivably many of them. Some lands have a Buddha, and some lands do not, some have just one Buddha, and some have countless Buddhas. If a land has no Buddha, then a Buddha from another world will mystically appear there to manifest the works of Buddha's being in heaven and descending in spirit, residing in a womb and being born, vanquishing demons and becoming enlightened, turning the will of the unexcelled teaching, according to the inclinations of beings' minds. Buddha manifests various forms, teaching them the sublime truth in accord with each of their faculties. In each Buddha field a Buddha appears in the world, spending billions of years expounding unexcelled truths. If beings are not vessels of truth, they cannot sec the Buddhas. If any have the will, they sec Buddha everywhere. In each individual Buddha field is a Buddha appearing in the world, the Buddhas in all lands are inconceivable in number. Herein each and every Buddha shows countless mystic transformations, pervading the entire universe, taming the ocean of beings. Some lands have no light, they read dark and full of fear, with pains like knives and swords, those who sec them suffer by themselves. The Flower Bank World 251, some have heavenly lights, some, lights of palaces, only have sun and moon lights, inconceivable are the networks of lands. Some lands are inherently luminous, in some the trees emit pure light, there has never been suffering there, due to the power of being's virtue. Some have lights of mountains, some have crystal lights, some are lit by lamps, all the force of being's deeds. Some have Buddha's auras, filled with enlightening beings, some arc lotus blossom lights with magnificent blazing colors. Some lands arc lit by flower lights, some by the sheen of fragrant waters, or by perfumes and burning incense, all comes from the force of pure vows. Some arc lit by cloud lights, some by jewel oysters lights, the light of Buddha's mystic power can intone gladdening sounds. Some arc lit by jewel lights, some by diamond flames. Their pure sounds can shake far-off realms, wherever they reach there arc no pains. Some have crystal lights or lights from ornaments or from enlightenment scenes shining in the crowds. Buddha emanates a great light filled with phantom Buddhas, that light touches all with its glow, pervading the whole cosmos. 252 The flower ornament scripture. Some lands arc terrifying, with great howls of pain, those voices most bitter and harsh, frightening all who hear. The realms of hells and beasts as well as the netherworlds, these arc polluted, evil worlds, from which always come cries of pain and distress. There are some lands that always produce enjoyable sounds, pleasing, in accord with the teaching, this is attained by pure deeds. In some lands are always heard heavenly sounds of various gods, pure sounds of celestial realms, or the voices of leaders of the worlds. There are some lands that produce wonderful sounds from clouds, they refilled with jewel seas, crystal trees, and music. In the auras of the Buddhas arc endless magical voices and those of enlightening beings heard throughout all lands, the voices expounding the teaching in inconceivably many lands, the voices produced by the ocean of vows, the wondrous tales of practical action. The Buddhas of past, present, and future, are born in the various worlds, fulfilling all their epithets, their voices without any end. In some lands is heard the voice of all Buddha's powers, the stages, the transcendent ways, and such teachings are all expounded. The power of the vows of universal good intones wondrous sayings in billions of worlds, the Flower Bank World 253 that sound like thunder shaking, remaining for endless ages. The Buddhas in pure lands manifest independent speech heard by one and all throughout the cosmos, everywhere. Book 6 Va Irokana. Then the enlightening Baing universally good went on to say to the great assembly, children of Buddha, in the remote past, as many cons ago as atoms in a world, nay, even twice as long ago as that, there was an ocean of worlds called all-sided pure light. In that ocean of worlds was a world called Supreme Sound, which rested on a sea of nets of crystal flowers, and had as many satellite worlds as atoms in the polar mountain. It was perfectly round in shape, and its ground was replete with innumerable adornments. It had around it 300 circles of surrounding mountains, forested with trees of myriad precious substances. It was covered by clouds of all kinds of gems. It was illumined by pure shining light. Its cities and mansions were like great high mountains. Food and clothing appeared whenever thought of. The age then was called variously adorned. In that world Supreme Sound was a sea of fragrant water called pure light. From the midst of that sea rose a great polar mountain of lotus flowers, called Banner, adorned all over with flowery flames. It was surrounded by balustrades made of 10 kinds of precious cloments. On the mountain was a great forest, called Circle of Bee Ranches with jewel flowers. Arrayed all around it were innumerable flower towers and jewel terraces. Everywhere was richly embellished with innumerably banners of exquisite fragrances, jewel mountain pennants, and jewel lotus blossoms. Innumerable nets of aromatic crystal lotus blossoms were draped all around. There was music, harmonious and pleasing. Fragrant clouds shone. All of these were countless, impossible to fully record. There were a million billion trillion cities all around the forest, with various beings living in them. East of this forest was a huge city called Flame Light, the capital city of a human king, surrounded by a million billion trillion cities, all made of pure, beautiful jewels, each one 70 leagues long and 70 leagues wide, with walls made of 7 kinds of precious substances. The armory towers to repel attackers were all high and beautifully adorned, with moats made of jewels and 254.